Okay, I just went live. Come on over and you'll see the link in the chat. Just tap on that. What's up, everybody? See everybody coming in here. We're just going to wait a second. My friend's going to grab the link. Matt, if you're in here, what's up? What's good, Mike? All right, there you are, Stone Sailor. All right, Matt, you're here. Okay, you see right here? Grab this link right here. Just tap on the link, and it'll basically walk you through it.
Yep.
And then you'll come backstage, and then I'll bring you up. What's up, Mike Slick? Anybody else coming in today? We're going to
Mike Slick, my brother. How are you?
We're going to have a special show today, and I'm bringing on one of my friends. He's already here. His name's Matt Hunt. He's a military veteran. He can explain all this stuff to you. You know, so we're going to have a good show today, and we're going to welcome him into the Man Hour. I'm going to bring him up right now, and we'll get into it.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're on stage now, Matt. Hey,
all right,
what's
cool.
up, Matt? How are you, Matt?
I'm good, man. What's going on, brother?
Now, let me introduce you guys. Matt, that's my co-host. That's Stone Sailor, and he's
Rob. Just call me Rob.
He likes to smoke a lot of weed, and he was also in the Navy.
Yeah, I was a canine handler. I was a dog handler. I did 2 tours with the Army in Iraq. I did 2 deployments, 05 and 07. So
I was there in 05 when I got blown up, man.
Okay. Where were you at? What fob? I was at Falcon.
I did missions to Falcon.
Let me start real quick because you guys are going to go on your military stuff.
Yeah. Me and this guy stepped on the same dirt together, so it'll be good.
All right, Matt. Me and you met in what, 2014? We actually met the first time I got out of prison. Remember?
Yep.
So look, just real quick breakdown. I pretty much know your history and all. How did you get into the military, and how did you even get that in your mind? You know, because I know where we come from. That's really not a play that we use. So just give us an explanation, like this through your family, what age and all that.
Well, I tried joining first time when I was like 17, but couldn't stop smoking weed and was into dumb shit. And I would guess I wasn't really ready. And the next time I was almost 20 and found out I was having a kid and was fucking selling drugs and doing dumb shit. And, basically had to make a choice to, continue doing the dumb shit or, make a change, man. So I'd made the change. It was the best fucking choice I ever made, bro.
Was your father in the military or anybody like that?
Yeah, my father was. Three of my brothers, actually. My brother was a retired colonel from the Air Force, and then I got a younger brother who was medically retired like me, and another one who was a helicopter mechanic for, 12 years.
Okay, what branch were you in? You were in the Army, right? Describe what you were, like, you know what I mean? Because
I did field artillery, so I basically blew shit up for a living. I worked on it was called a howitzer, and we used to shoot.
Well, what was your MOS? You were 13 Bravo, right? Cannon
Yeah,
cocker?
13 Bravo.
Okay,
yep.
13 Bravo, yeah.
Yep. So, basically, like if you can imagine, like a bullet on steroids, these were like 105-pound bullets that we used to fire out of. They were called howitzers. Like it basically looks like, if you could think like a common person would think, like a tank. So, and you could basically blow up a building, blow up a house, blow up enemies, or there's a lot of different things you could do with it. You can shoot white phosphorus to kill enemies. You can shoot illumination rounds. Like if you were in combat, like we were the first time, we shot a lot of different missions, to basically you're supporting infantry guys, like frontline guys who were out there, trying to fight the enemy. And, you might fire illumination rounds. So at night, so we're, like the guys can be able to see and where they're moving, what they're doing, who they're shooting at and shit like that.
And what he's talking about is because I was attached to the 3rd Infantry 7th Regiment out of Fort Stewart. I was with an
That's where I was
infantry unit.
stationed at. Four-star. Did both my
Okay,
combat tours at Fort.
the cotton balers, cotton ballers, right?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
That's right. That's
Well,
it.
I got
Yeah.
a shirt
So
today, guys, that says United States USA. This is for the veterans. It's for veterans.
good. That's it.
Yeah.
No doubt,
And what
man.
he's talking about is those howitzers. If you watch it, you could pull. It's like they pull a string and they shoot this cannon, you
Yeah.
know, and they could illuminate the whole sky in the middle of the night because it gets dark over there and all the street lights are out because we knocked the power out and shit.
Yep.
And it just lights up the sky so you can see you can see what you're shooting at. Well,
Yep.
they can see you too, though. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Let me
I mean,
ask you this because you said something. You said when you went into a combat or whatever. Okay, let me say this. Okay, so you went from here where we're at, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, at 20 years old, you're in. Was it the Iraq War or whatever?
yeah, Iraq, where I was there for the
Iraq.
initial invasion in 03. Like
Okay.
during, if you Google the shock and awe, like when it was all over CNN, Fox News, and any other news outlet when they were shooting the Tomahawk missiles into, a lot of his palaces and,
Yep.
the rest of the country, basically, I was there. So we started out in Kuwait and then, you basically mobilized and moved from there, like up through to Crete, which is southern Iraq, and then
Yep.
into Baghdad. And,
Mhm.
so, but
Yep.
as a matter of fact, like a
Quick,
cool
if any
story
of
is,
you guys, because we're getting some people in here saying thank you for your service and stuff, Matt. We got a lot
Cool.
of veterans and also just patriotic people. And so if any of you guys got any questions for Matt specifically or whatever, and I'll look at them what's going on, and we'll try to get every question to Matt.
Matt, I know I know you were an artilleryman, but just like anything, like I'm a sailor in the Navy 1 minute, and then they say, "Hey, you got a dog, you got to go to Iraq and be a soldier." So you're
Yeah.
an artilleryman, and all of a sudden, during the initial invasion, you're an infantryman.
basically,
You're
I mean,
doing-
we
yeah,
did mostly. We did mostly artillery when we were there the first time.
Mhm.
The second time we went back, we didn't even take howitzers, man. We did convoy escort missions. We did all infantry tactic shit. Like,
Yeah.
we
Hit
were
doors,
escorting money.
raids,
We
knocks,
were going up
escorts.
to Abu Ghraib prison. We were,
Abu Ghraib.
taking, generals and, high ranking, like civilian guys, to different Ministry of Electricity and a lot of different places. We did some wild shit there, man, the second time and saw some wild shit.
What about Matt?
Because during the initial invasion coming in, they needed artillery to soften them up during the shock and awe. But after we got in to stabilize, everyone had to become like an infantry or a military policeman because we're an occupying force, as opposed to Afghanistan, where you guys shot those howitzers into those mountains 24/7. I mean, you got a lot of trigger time, as far as doing your job, doing your artillery job. But in Iraq, you were doing everything else after that, huh?
Completely different animal, man.
Yeah.
And basically after the initial invasion, I don't know, I'm going to say probably 18 months after you had won the initial battle, and like you were saying, you're basically stable. You're there like to stabilize and help try to rebuild. You didn't even know you were fighting guerrilla warfare at that point. Like you didn't know who the enemy was. Like there was nobody running around, and they called them like the chocolate chip uniforms, basically. Like so, it was just regular civilian guys, and they're whatever it is.
They were Iraqi army guys that took their uniform off, put civilian clothes on, and just started attacking us. It was the same shit.
Yeah.
They just took their uniforms off, and now they became insurgents or anti-Iraqi forces and all these other.
Do you guys see each other? Like him being in the Navy, you being in the Army. Do you guys see each other when you're fighting over there and all that stuff?
Yeah, because I would, because I was as a dog handler, because when I got deployed there, because the Army didn't have enough dog handlers. Guys were, because they were leaning on the Army heavy for their dogs. So they said, we want the Navy and the Air Force to chip in. And that's how the Navy got boots on the ground with the Army and the Marines. And I was one of the first group of dog handlers in 2004 when I got the orders to deploy into combat since Vietnam. We were the first group of Navy. So they sent us to a CRC program at Fort Bliss, where it was like a 3-week Army basic training, where we went with our dogs. We had a low crawl, that shit. And then they deployed us out and attached us to infantry units. And we did everything you guys did. We had to become soldiers.
Matt, random, a couple of questions. W Number Podcast is a good dude. Shout him out. Do they let guys in with criminal records, or if you do got, what kind of crimes would they let you in? Or do you know if
Depends.
Yeah, say, I mean, it
Depends.
depends. Like, not, I mean, if you got felonies back, I don't know, definitely not now, but back then, like, you know, what I mean, when we were in like the heat and the heavy, you know,
Okay.
portion of the Iraq War,
They
I mean,
start waiving.
they raised age. I mean, Christ, I had 40-year-olds, you know,
Yeah.
fresh out of basic training coming to join us in Iraq, and I mean,
Yeah.
guys that were, you know, had, you know, misdemeanors and like criminal records, but nothing crazy and shit. You know what I
Nothing
mean?
serious felonies. Misdemeanors,
Yeah,
they'll work with
basically.
you. If it's like anything like domestic violence, no, anything like that.
Yeah.
But like misdemeanors and maybe some non-violent felonies, they'll work
Yeah.
with you. They can get, you know, get a adjudication withheld so you can go into the service and stuff. So they'll work with you. Depends on what it is.
Yeah,
another one
basically,
too,
it's like a waiver. Basically, is what they do. Like, you got to go
A
talk to,
waiver.
you know, a colonel or, you know, somebody high up and shit. You have to basically, it's like interviewing for a job. You know what I mean? And well, why should we let your ass in, kind of thing? And if you do all right, then, you know, sometimes they'll, you know, pass the waiver or not. But
what about how do you become a mechanic for the military? Somebody Gravesend's asking, do they train you to do that?
Well, you take a test, an ASVAB. They see if you have the ability for that, and then they train. If you pick a job like a mechanic or an Army mechanic, and they'll send you to school, and you'll get all those certifications. You'll work in the motor pool.
Yep. Yeah, basically you go through boot camp first, where you learn all your basic soldering skills, how to march, how to fire an M16, M4, 249, 240, all the different weapon systems.
Yep.
You know, throw a grenade, all basic soldering skills. Then you go to what's called AIT, at least for the Army, that's what they call it.
Yeah.
And it's called Advanced Individual Training. So if you want to be artillery, you'll go learn how to shoot artillery, and it might be 4 to 6 weeks. For a mechanic, if they choose that, you know, particular job, a light wheel mechanic, track wheel mechanic, you'll go and you'll do however many weeks of schooling, and they'll teach you what you know, basically the basics of the job, and then you learn as you go once you get to your unit from AIT.
And if you want to work on helicopters or airplanes, the Navy's got a great mechanic program, and just like the Army, you could get all those skills and get out and make some money. You can go get a job anywhere.
Yeah,
doing that.
A big piece of advice. I got it. My godson's trying to go into the military, and my cousin just graduated from boot camp today, actually, out here. I'm out at Fort Sill now. So he had to graduate.
I've been there.
I've been there. I was an instructor out here for 3 years.
Oh, were you? That's the king of battle, right? The artillery, the king of battle, they call it, right?
Man.
The king of battle,
Yeah.
Matt, when you, I want to ask you this. So you sign up for the Army, you're in the military, whatever, bam, the war starts. Next thing you know, you're over here in combat. Was it like shock value? Like, how'd you feel? Like, what was, because I seen pictures of you.
Yeah.
Also, I seen it on back in the day, and I've been to your house and everything, but I've seen pictures of you guys like posed in front of some stuff over there and things like that. So explain to me how that even went. Like when you first got there, how does it work? Like how do you feel? Like, were you like,
I mean, it's a shock, you know what I mean? Whether you've been there once or you've been there 8 times, you know what I mean? Because just like anything else, you know what I mean, if you haven't been there and especially in combat, stuff changes so quick. You know, what I did the first time I was there was completely different from the second time. And so, I mean, you get there and you always start in Kuwait. At least I did both times. You'll get
I did
briefings nonstop all day for like a week. And you'll do a little bit of, you know, weapons training, you know, like zeroing weapons and, you know, basically prepping you to go into wherever it is you're going, whether it's Baghdad or Balad or, you know, wherever it is that you're going to, whatever fob you'll be at. And they either some people, you know, convoy up, or I got on a C-130 and we did, you know, flew from Kuwait to basically right into Baghdad. We did a combat drop in the middle of the night and boots on the ground, man. And,
tell them what a combat drop. Tell them what a combat drop is. Yeah, they don't know. Tell them.
Yeah, I'll say a combat drop. Like, imagine being in like a civilian. You know, you're flying from here to, you know, Florida or whatever, and you know, you basically drop out of the sky like a roller coaster. So it's a pretty wild experience. And the reason why they do that is obviously, you know, it's a big target. You know what I mean? And
and they want
to try to kill you before you get on the ground. So, you know, to avoid that, you basically drop out of the sky like a bird, you know, to get on the ground as quickly as possible to avoid being, you know, shot at or, you know, have any kind of like.
And listen, I'm on a C-130 with a dog, and that motherfucker did the combat drop the first time, landing in Biop. Man, I
Yeah.
was like, it's like you're like, holy, my dog was like, holy shit, like
That's
I
where we
was
landed. We
holding
did a
him
combat drop right
Yeah.
into the buyout, man, and then
in
got
the
on. It was
buyout.
called Route Irish at the time,
Yep.
and then
I
took
used
that
to
into the
sweep that
green
road.
zone. So, yep. Yeah, thank God
Yep.
you guys did, man, because there was IEDs all over that motherfucker, buddy.
They used to call it IED Alley, Route
Yep.
Irish.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it was a death trap. And we used to have to sweep that with dogs so you guys can advance and convoys and shit and all that.
Yep.
It was just it was horrible. I mean, they would have daisy chains, like you would see 20 dead Iraqis just burning up in a car, and you just smell
Yeah.
them, and it's 100 degrees out, and all the it's just you'll never forget what that smells. You'll never forget what that smells like. It's horrible.
Oh my God, yeah. It's I got a story later, man, but yeah, like I've had my taste of smelling burnt human flesh,
Dead
man,
body,
and like
yeah.
trying to peel a fucking human body off of a seat and shit to throw him in a
Oh,
body bag and
horrible.
send what you can
Mhm.
back home to his loved ones and shit, man.
Yep.
It's not a cool thing, man. That shit
Yeah,
will
Was
haunt
that
you.
worse on stuff like that? Was that more on your first tour or your second tour? Because I know something happened to you because I already know your situation. That
Yeah.
Explain what happened to you because you got blown up by what happened there.
For me, so I was 11 months in. I was doing 12-month deployments, so I was 11 months in, and the mission every morning. You get a mission brief, like this is what you're doing, and we're going here, blah blah. Look out for this, and the lead gunner got sick. So a gunner was basically the guy like who hung out of the top of the Humvees. He scanned rooftops and sidewalks and buildings and directed traffic and shit like that to make sure they don't get close to you. Or you're basically you're protecting your convoy and the people that are inside the Humvees and your escorts. So he got sick. I was an NCO, so I was the third gunner. And I was like, well, shit, I want to. They were like, we need a volunteer. I was like, fuck, I want to do it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be able to do this shit. And we're leaving in a month. So the mission we were doing, we were going to pick up escorts from a place it was a hotel called Al Sadir Hotel, right in the middle of Baghdad.
Like hookers?
What's that?
Escorts like hookers?
No, like
no.
we were taking I think they were like some some high ranking like officers and civilian people.
They're called high valued asset people that they provide security for. Iraqi ministers, Iraqi politicians that are elected. We would have to provide their security for them.
Yeah. So we were we went and picked up. Yeah, we would go pick up the people that we were taking, and the mission we were doing. We were going up to Abu Ghraib prison, taking them up there so they could basically look around the facility, make sure that things are running right. The prisoners and stuff like that weren't being treated like inhumanely, and weren't getting waterboarded and shit. Which they had issues with a lot of that stuff. Over the years while we were there. But anyway, so we picked up.
I will go ahead, explain what happened to you, and then I want to talk about that.
So we go pick up the escorts and get them in the vehicles and stuff. We get back out on the road, and literally within no more than 3 minutes, we're driving up. In Baghdad, imagine it's like New York City almost. It's like the best way. It's people everywhere, cars and just shit everywhere, and small tight roads. So we're riding up the road, heading towards Abu Ghraib, and we passed. Only thing that I remember is we passed a bunch of parked cars on the right hand side, and then everything went orange. And then I woke up inside the Humvee, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes later, and with black smoke and shit everywhere, spitting my teeth out. And I had been hit. It was a car bomb when we passed the last parked car. It was a suicide bomber, had 6 artillery rounds, so 600 plus pounds of explosives. And they also said it was like wrapped in hay. So if the explosion didn't kill you, that like the fire, it would basically like the fireball and shit like that would catch fire, and cook off all the ammunition and stuff like that we used to carry with us. So, but it didn't, thankfully. And only thing that I remember again, literally was like I was engulfed in like a fireball, and then woke up inside the Humvee minutes later, spitting teeth out, and half my Kevlar's gone from a piece of shrapnel hitting it, and my ballistic plate, which was cracked. I had shrapnel, a little piece of shrapnel that went in my chest.
Oh boy!
So, and had my face was crushed. I had 8 plates and 34 screws in my face put in.
Wow.
So,
well, they did. You still look handsome, so don't worry. You're a handsome guy. They couldn't touch you.
Yeah, her name was Captain
That's
Boswell.
why you have them headaches and stuff. What is that?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah. I was saying the headaches and stuff like that was from the TBI, which you know, from the explosion and shit like that going off, rattled my head pretty good, and like I don't know, it was no more than maybe I guess like 2 months later. I just remember waking up in the morning one morning. I was like, "Fuck, man, this is the worst headache I've ever had in my life, dude," and they never went away. So, like, it's like having a migraine on steroids, like times 10, but getting them like 4 to 5 times a day for 6 months out of the year, every fucking day.
And it exacerbates your mood too, because you get, because
you don't
I
want
got
to
hit
talk to
too. I got a
nobody. You don't want to do
TBI
shit.
too. Yeah, I mean, like from the headaches and the PT, I got so nasty with everybody. I just didn't want I didn't want to have a conversation. I was fucking like, like, it's rough. I know, man. But you got really nailed. I got nailed. They nailed us on the outside, and it the Humvee absorbed most of it and cracked the glass. But you got really hit. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you're alive, brother, man. Jesus.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, I say it blew a huge guy. I got a bunch of pictures still. Like it blew a huge crater in the middle of the street and blew down. They were called T. You know what a T wall is? So it was like basically like I don't know, it was like a 15-foot concrete wall. Blew that shit to smithereens. But so the funniest part about that day was like looking, because people obviously, like some of the guys I was with, like in the aftermath when things had kind of settled, I was already on my way to, it was called the 86 Cash, which was the hospital to go get shit done and, blah, blah, blah. But people took pictures and they showed me afterwards. And so there's palm trees in Iraq. And again, like it blew a fucking crater in the middle of the street and it blew the T-walls over. But there was it was a white donkey, basically, right? And he must have been carrying fruit or vegetables or something like that for one of the Iraqis there. And through the entire like aftermath, like this donkey didn't have a speck of fucking dust, nothing on him. And even they said that he was like maybe 15 feet from like where we were at in the Humvees. And I'm like, how the fuck did this thing not have 1,000 holes in it? I guess it's one of the things like, makes you want to, I'm not a big believer in God or whatever, you know what I mean? But like this donkey must have been the luckiest animal on the planet, dude, that day. Literally. So like for something like that to happen, because they said they saw the explosion in the fireball from like 3 miles away, man. It was, it was big. So
I mean, just like into like even being at the fob, we would have a little ECP, a little entry control point for like vendors and stuff. I would sweep everything, but you would hear those bombs go off outside the fob too. You'd hear them go off all night, and then we'd run it QRF, run out there to see what happened and all that. I would sweep for secondary, like because a lot of these guys, they'll put an IED in the road. They know our guys will hit it, but it's a diversion. They know that we're
trying to get you to move up because of your protocols.
Yes.
And then
They're trying to get you
where you think you're out of the kill zone, and boom, there's a second one that goes off.
Yes. Yeah. So what we used to do when an IED went off, someone got hit, they would shoot me out. I would sweep for secondaries to make sure that they could bring them in, because these guys, they knew our tactical training plans. They knew what we do. Oh, I got to.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying, like, that's kind of what happened with us. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Hear you.
Okay. So like when we got blown up, you know what I mean? You assess casualties on the site right there where it happened. And then our protocol was to move, 50 to 100 meters up, assess another, and if assess it there. And if we're good there, but anyways, we moved up out of the kill zone is what they called it. And then again, like you were saying, they knew our protocol. So there's guys, how many of them, I have no idea, but we start hearing gunfire pinging off the fucking Humvees and bullets, or you can see the dust flying, from the bullets hitting the concrete in the street. And so we're getting fired at and shit. I don't have a weapon because the weapon that I had got blown out of the fucking turret. And the M16 that I had, they found like a block down the road because it got blown out of my hands. So we're in a firefight for, I guess, probably about 15, 20 minutes. And we had called in, QRF, like you were talking about, came and supported us. And then we called in Apaches for air support. Well, them motherfuckers over there, when they see them Apaches, buddy, they don't fuck around. They know what's good and what ain't, man. So the Apaches come in and they start lighting the motherfucking rooftop up. And that was the last gunfire you heard.
Yeah, those Apaches with those guns they got, I don't know what they're called, but man, those things just saw through things. Like they'll just split a whole fucking house in half.
Yeah.
Like
It's
So when they lock them up, Matt, like when you were talking about earlier about the waterboard and all that kind of stuff. So when they catch these people and stuff, like what are they doing? Trying to get information out of them and like just using
Intel.
Yeah,
intel.
intelligence and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like who they're working for. Like, are they operating within like a small cell, a big cell? Like, this, that, the other. Like, what do you guys know about like our, what we do? Our tactics and things like, whatever they can to try to, aid and support like the guys who are on the ground and shit out there running these escort missions or, kicking in doors and shit like that. You know what I mean?
So what? Basically, like, what are you allowed to do to them? What were you allowed to do? Obviously, waterboard thing about it.
Did you work with any prisoners, Matt, or just take them off the battlefield and drop them off?
Yeah, we just took them off. Like we got to go inside the prison and shit when we were up there, but not like we didn't deal with any of the prisoners and stuff. We pulled security for the guys, like coming in and out and all that shit. But as far as what they did, I couldn't really explain to you. I mean, like everybody kind of sort of knows, like the basics of it. They're going up to to interrogate and get information and blah blah blah. But outside of that, I don't. I couldn't tell you, what goes on behind closed doors with them guys.
I know they have a cultural thing about dogs. You're aware of that, Matt, with the dogs with them?
Yeah.
They don't like the dog in the house with the Quran. If you bring a dog into the house to search it and the Quran's there, according to some of them, the angels won't bless their house. So they have a thing about dogs. So getting prisoners and interrogating them and having a dog around is an intimidating thing. And they were doing that in Abu Ghraib. And then eventually, because of that, this guidance came out that we're not allowed to bring dogs when they interrogate. We're not allowed to bring them, which I didn't really think that was a big deal. I think it's better to see a dog than getting waterboarded anyway. So
I hear you.
So I hear you. When you're on like the base and stuff like that, so you're on a base. Is that like a safe zone where nobody can get to, or you're never safe?
Yeah,
never.
So, okay,
so mortars come in. Mortars 24/7 right after prayer.
Yep.
Soon as the prayer,
you might be walking a chow and you can hear. It sounds like a loud whistle is coming in basically, and the louder the whistle, the closer the mortar is to where you're at.
Yep.
So if you hear a loud whistle, you better fucking haul ass and pick a direction and fucking haul ass or find cover. So we were coming back from a mission from where the hell were we? Were somewhere south. We ran a mission. And we got back after like a 9-hour day, again, like 120 fucking degrees in Iraq. And we had, it was like a trailer that had showers and shit in it. So me and one of my soldiers.
They called it a chew. Chew.
Yep. So me and one of my soldiers would go in and take a shower, and you carry your weapon with you wherever you go. And we start hearing, we heard a whistle, and then you hear the fucking boom, the explosion, and it rattles the shower room, a little bit. And the guy, his name was Nichols. We called him Butch. He's like, "Hey, Hunt, you hear that shit?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I think we're good, dude." I said, "Fucking, it's a little far out." You know what I mean? So about a minute or two later, you hear another whistle and shit, and this one's louder, and it fucking explodes, and it's fucking really shook the fucking building. And he's like, "Hey, Hunt, man, look, dude, I don't know about you, buddy, but I'm getting ready to get the fuck out of here." I was like, "Yeah, me too." And within seconds or whatever later, it was a loud fucking whistle, and it fucking blew the fucking door, the fucking thing open. We grabbed our shit and fucking hauled ass inside the palace and shit, because the next one probably would have been close enough to where, when something explodes and shit, you don't know where the hell it's going to go. And a piece of shrapnel the size of a dime will take your head off.
Yes, it will. Cut right through your body.
Yep, exactly.
Go right through your body,
man.
Yep.
So
I got another question here for our W Number podcast. This is pretty good. It says we're talking about that right now. That's why I waited. Okay, he says he's been in prison and stuff. He's always compared prison trauma to like war trauma. Do you got any trauma from being like in the war, like PTSD and all that kind of stuff, like when you first came home or even now or stuff? Like what? How did that affect you?
Yeah, I mean, from the stuff that you see and shit like that, you know what I mean? Like, watching people get literally cut in half. You're picking up, a half a torso on one side of the road, and the top half of a guy that you fucking were just eating lunch with the day before is now, basically Swiss cheese and shit in a combat zone, or, having to go and you see like even the Iraqi people there, like the bombers, and like they killed a lot of their own people and shit. So they would, you'd see arms and legs and, like there's some crazy shit there, man. And, it sits with you and stuff, especially when it's people that you're close with or that you know, and that at one point in time, like you maybe can even consider family, you know what I mean, because of the camaraderie and stuff. And my own trauma when I got blown up, like for shit, when I got back, for like 6 months, like I could, the little bit of sleep that I could get, like I would wake up, like you have a dream every night, right? Like if you didn't dream, you'd be dead. So, every night I could be dreaming about fucking having an orgy with 10 women, like the most fucking fantastic dream you could imagine. And then out of nowhere, I would feel it in my chest and I would re-see that orange fireball. And it was the same thing almost every fucking night. And I would wake up like, in cold sweats and, your heart's fucking pounding and shit. So, but,
That still happens to me till this day. I still have those every now and then. They're not as frequent, but I still get them.
Like it's very rare. Like, and it seems, I was blown up on October 6th. So I feel like the closer I get to like that day, like, and I don't even notice it's like a subconscious thing, but like, like people tell me like, dude, like you're different. You know what I mean? Like you seem depressed or you seem angry or you seem this or that, the other. It's like, well, and I kind of just figured it out within like the last maybe couple of years. Like, like maybe that is because of, it's close to my anniversary date and it, brings back subconscious memories or whatever feelings that make me, act or do some of the things that I do around that time.
Yep. That's right.
So, and I'm sure it's similar for guys, in prison and shit. You know what I mean? Like, fuck that. I'd rather be in combat than prison, buddy. I couldn't have did what you did, Eric.
Well, look, I'm going to answer a question right now. Somebody's asking me. Another fat, bald Italian said, Eric, if they offered you to join the military instead of my prison term, 4 years minimum service, would you have done it? Yes, I would have.
I would hope so. Yeah, that would be a good
go fuck outside and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you get paid. You get paid. Yeah,
you can eat a steak if you want and shit. Fuck that.
You get paid 1st and the 15th every month. You got dental, medical. What the fuck? Good, know.
And exactly. I think that would be the best option for a 20-something-year-old to go into the military.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I think it would too.
I tell my fucking younger people and shit all the time, like. If you ain't doing shit but sitting around fucking smoking, whatever, man, like you're in a dead end job, join the fucking military, man. You know what I mean? You get to travel for free. You got medical benefits, dental benefits. You ain't getting rich, at least at first. You know what I mean? But the longer you stay in, the more money you make, the more rank you get, and boot camp sucks, but it's supposed to suck. But once you get past all that shit, I mean, it's just like a regular fucking job. I mean, unless you're in combat and shit, but you're going to do some different dumb shit, but whatever it is,
I served during peacetime prior to 9/11, and then I served after 9. I did 20 years, Matt. So my thing, like pre 9/11, it was like I was like running all over Europe and Asia and hotel. I mean, like we would go to ships. I mean, there was no war. Nobody was worried about terrorism, and we were. And then after 9/11, we went into a wartime posture. And then you started earning your money because if you were married or you had loved ones, your kids, you were deploying all the time. You were back and forth, and it broke up a lot of families. I knew a lot of marriages that I thought were strong, but couldn't survive the deployments. It ruined one of mine too. I had a couple, but anyway.
When you go to prison, they leave you too.
Yeah. And I worked in a prison, and as a corrections officer, and yes, that's the same type. When you have to be guarded. When your mind is hyper vigilant 24/7, thinking about, am I going to get blown up? Is this guy a suicide bomber? Are they going to shoot? Is a sniper going to take me out from these windows as we're driving? When you're on guard like that 24/7, it does something to you mentally. So yes, PTSD. I saw it in inmates all the time because I had it. I can recognize it.
Yeah, it's hypervigilance, man. Like you always want to know like what your surroundings, you know what I mean? Like, and you find yourself assessing situations, you know what I mean? Like you're in big crowds, you know what I mean? Like just something simple as like going to like a crowded bar, you know what I mean? Like you'll notice that guy that's over in the fucking corner that nobody else, the other 400 people haven't fucking seen, you know exactly what the fuck he's doing with his hands. I mean, legit, man. Like, and it's not, it's just fucking second nature, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Just like a prison, I immediately look where my exits are, where, if something happens, like an emergency action plan. Like I put it in my head together, like, bam, and that's what it is. It's hypervigilance. And if you stay
But it's a good thing to have, though,
hyper-vigilant,
to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
it
Like,
is.
I'd rather be hyper
Working
vigilant
in a
than not and shit, because when you get complacent, that's when fucked up shit happens.
well, that's why getting out of the service and going and becoming a correction officer, it was easy for me because I was already hyper vigilant. I watched everyone's
Yeah.
hands. I'm always looking my surroundings. That's how you got to be working in a prison. You
Yeah.
can't be walking around like you're, in La La Land.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll
You
tell you
know?
what's something funny real quick. And Matt, you know this story. I think it's back when right around the time when I first met you, man. We first met 2014, so it was probably around 2015 or something. Remember, you were having a little problem with the fake gangsters around the neighborhood and shit. They were trying to like team up on you on some bullshit. And the word got to me. And remember what I said? I said this. I said, look, I'm riding with the guy who fucking was dealing with the bombs and all that shit.
Yeah.
Remember, I told them all they're all a bunch of bitches, didn't I?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Sure
like,
enough
people
did.
don't understand what people have been through, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly, man. Never judge a book by its cover, man.
No,
Yeah, so
definitely.
Yeah.
like when you, how did you guys like relax and party and shit like that? Did you like, because you look, me and you partied together and shit like that, so I know you like to have fun and shit. So how did you do that over there? That's what I'm saying.
You
What,
didn't.
party or relax?
Well, either, you know.
Well, you couldn't party because you couldn't drink and
Couldn't
shit.
party.
But,
Oh, you couldn't?
no, hell no.
No
Fuck
alcohol.
no.
No. We
No.
got it. I mean, it was there, just like
I was
prison.
gonna say,
You
yeah,
had
like if
people
you really
making it.
wanted it, you could probably find it and shit. You know what I mean? Just like
You
in a
pay-
joint. You know what I mean? If you wanted it.
You pay an Iraqi who's a contractor, he'll bring you whatever you want. Just
Yeah.
like prison. They
So
can
is
get
that just
contraband.
for wartime or something? Because I like when you watch Forrest Gump and stuff, they're coming out with beers and stuff like that, and like
Yeah.
You might
Well-
maybe some colonels or you know what I mean, like some high ranking dudes that are sitting in the fucking embassy over there might get some beer and shit like that.
Yeah.
But you know, they ain't got shit to really. I mean, everybody does, but everybody's got something to worry about and being on high alert. But you know what I mean, like
During the military
I
learned
didn't
its
even want to do any
lesson.
of that shit.
No, but
What's
the
that?
military learned its. Yeah, I've been to Saddam's palace. Did you go to one of his palaces?
I lived in 3 of them.
You lived in 3 of them? All right, good. Did you take a dump in his toilet like I did? The main one in Baghdad, the Bain Palace?
So I lived when we first got there. We were it was called Fob Honor, which was actually one of his sons. It was either Uday or Usay, his palace, and then we went over to it was called Fob Union 3 and lived there for a little, you know, basically the rest of the tour. Crazy. And that was his palace. Here's a cool story about living. So Saddam Hussein owned what fucking probably 20 fucking different. And when I say a palace, it's a fucking palace.
It's a palace.
It's
I mean,
3
he owned
times
a lot.
the size of a fucking hotel. So when Saddam Hussein got caught by Fourth ID in a spider hole, right? He eventually went on to trial. Well, he's Saddam Hussein, you know what I mean? One of the most popular, most hated or loved man in fucking all of Iraq. So when he was on trial, he could only stay in a certain place for, you know, could have been a day. It might be 3 or 4 days and shit. And then they'd have to move him somewhere else. Yeah. So there was a period he was with us when we lived on Fob Union 3. He lived in the basement of his own fucking palace being guarded by, it was Australian Special Forces and American Special Forces for about 4 days. So like he would go to do his trial and he would have to come back in through the gate. He'd get searched and shit just like fucking anybody else. Well, I was on gate guard one day when he was coming back in. I didn't get to search him myself, but I got to see Saddam Hussein fucking, you know, within like 10 feet from me, like at this point in time was the most notorious man on the fucking planet. You know what I mean? It's right there. And they're getting ready to go put him in a fucking prison cell in his own goddamn or what used to be his palace and shit. It was some wild fucking shit, dude.
And back to the whole, he had gold.
Gold.
Oh my God. His palace, like when we got there, you know, when we got there the second time, like all the palette, like it had gold lacing all over it and shit. And I mean, it had, you know, full size movie theaters, but the palace and everything over there from all the Tomahawk missiles and, you know, whatever else. I mean, it was torn to fucking shreds, dude. Like when I say a palace, you weren't living in like, you know, like the Trump Plaza Hotel in New York. It was a beat up, you know, it had holes and shit and rats and, you know, it was fucked up, dude. Anything that was worth the value was stripped and sold, you know, by the local Iraqis or even military people would, you know, basically called war trophies and shit.
Basically, like how like when we're rehabbing a house down in the city and we leave for the night, then they get our shit.
Basically, Like imagine like a gutted house on Baltimore Street. That's basically what the palace was, but it was, you know, a million times the size of that fucking row home that's on Baltimore Street.
So,
We
and that
lived in an
happened after he got arrested.
abandoned car factory. We lived in an abandoned car factory. It was a car factory that he would build cars in, and we just took it over and made it our camp, you know, and that was it. And as far as drinking and all that you see in the movies, like in Vietnam, that's the reason why you can't do that now, because in Nam, those guys were drunk and on heroin all the time. In their off time, they were getting fucked up, and the army's like, no more of the military. So that's why they have that general order where you can't drink and all this other, you know, stuff.
Right,
so
well, okay,
I don't know if I'd want to be fucked up dodging bullets and bombs, anyways, dude. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Right, but here's what I'm saying. Like, so like how Vietnam, they did say that the Vietnamese, they were on all kind of dope and stuff like that, so it made them like hard to kill, whatever. So was it the same with the Iraqis? Were they on drugs and stuff too? And were they coming up with little kids just shooting at you and all that shit? Like, you know,
we had some kids that were. Go ahead, you answer, man.
I was all right. So I mean, you had, I guess, the best of both worlds, really. You know what I mean? So like we would go on missions, and like when we got to wherever location we were at, like, you know, for the most, depending on where we were at, like we'd have to pull like high level security, or you could someplace you could relax just a little bit. You know what I mean? But there were some places there'd be little kids. You know, we would kick the soccer ball around with some of these kids. Or like, you know, we would be stopped on the side of the road for a few seconds or something like that. And you'd have little kids, you know, in bunches would try to get close enough. Because we used to throw them candies and shit, chocolates. So like when they would come up, they say, Mr. Chocolate, chocolate. And if you had like some little fun size Snickers, you throw them a handful and shit. It'd make their day. Or you'd sit and kick a soccer ball with them. You know what I mean? Like when you get to where you're going at for whatever mission you're running, and it would make their fucking day. But then also you'd have kids that, you know, not that they were trying to do it, but you know what I mean, they're kids, and you know, when you're fucking a terrorist, they don't give a shit who's fucking dies or not. So they would try to strap vests on these kids, or you know, give them a soccer ball, and you'd go to play soccer with one of these kids, and it's happened. You know what I mean? They'd kick the fucking soccer ball over towards the Humvee, and next thing you know, boom, it shit's exploding and it's fucking killing somebody.
Wow.
So
we had to stop giving out.
Women too.
Yeah. Women would wear, they said, do you think they were pregnant? Walk up to the ECP, boom, detonate themselves, goodbye. Yeah.
I remember sitting on top of the palace and shit, pulling fucking, you know, guard. Like, you know, you have to, because the fobs and stuff like that, you had a security perimeter. So I remember we could look over. Yeah. Like we were sitting on the top of the palace, literally on the rooftop, pulling, you know, rooftop guard. And you could see part of the, you know, some of the buildings and stuff like that. And they had these, I guess it was a little coffee shop from what I remember. But I remember sitting on top of it was me and this guy Griggs, and next thing we know, like we're looking over there at this coffee shop, and we look away. Like 2 seconds later, the whole fucking coffee shop's gone, and you hear this huge explosion. Come to find out, you know, it was a woman that walked into the cafe with a suicide vest on and blew the fucking thing to smithereens. So you just never know, man. You know what I mean?
We had to stop giving them candy and those Beanie Baby things, because we were drawing sniper fire, and every time we come in, the kids would run towards the Humvees, and then we would draw sniper fire, so we would have to stop because we didn't want the kids to get shot.
Yeah,
because they don't give a fuck. Those people,
they sure don't, man. Terrorism don't stop for nobody, buddy.
Nah, they'll kill kids, women. They don't care. They'll blow up anybody. They don't give a shit. They'll sacrifice 100 of them to get one of you. They don't give a fuck.
Yep, pretty much, man. Pretty much.
And they're going to go to heaven with 77 virgins. So how do you fight that mentality?
Yeah, that's what they think.
How do you fight that?
I was saying that's like you, not that you knew, because it wasn't everybody, but you know, a lot of people over there, they wore all like pretty much all black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're whatever it is that you call, like it looks like a goddamn man dress or whatever. But
Shiites.
So if you ever saw a motherfucker that was freshly, cleanly shaven, wearing all white, you better stay the fuck away from him. Or you better fucking, you know, keep them at a fucking very more than fucking arm's distance away and shit. And especially when you start hearing somebody say, what the hell was it? Allah Akbar. You know you're about to be in for some shit, buddy. So fucking make sure your weapon's locked and loaded, son.
Yeah, that's it.
Because it's about to get fucking gangster.
I want to get to some of these questions before they pile up too much. First is for you, Sailor. You can read it off. And
Did Sailor just say the dog jumped out of the plane? No. I never jumped out of a plane. We were in a big C-130, and I'm on my way. We're landing in Biop, and the plane dropped. It was a combat drop. I never done a combat. It was my first time coming in country there, and I didn't know what it was. And like Matt just, greatly articulated. Basically, it just does a nosedive the plane. Now I'm in the back of a cargo plane. I'm just like tied in. I got my dog running around. Now we're gonna do a combat drop. So we're like, it's like a roller coaster. It's like, woo, your stomach goes in your throat. And I had to grab my dog because he was freaking out. He was like, what the hell is this? You know, and I'm like, so that's what it was.
And I guess this question is for either one of you guys. And Sale, you can see it, but I'll read it off.
Did you guys ever witness
Baka Bosley Boy play? It's a documentary on it. Very disturbing.
Oh, you mean how they like to have sex with young boys? Yeah, they have a culture over there in Afghanistan where it's a little crazy. I don't know if you want to comment on that, Mike.
Nah, I don't. Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about that weird stuff.
Yeah. They have a culture over there. Yeah, it's a culture over there. You would see you would see guys holding hands walking, right, Matt? Sometimes. That's like a culture thing for them.
Well, hold up. You said guys holding hands walking in Iraq. I thought the gay was against their religion.
It's not gay. It's like a culture thing.
It's like their culture thing. Like, whereas we like shake with our right hand, you don't want to do that over there because they They wipe their ass with their bare hands over there. So don't shake with your right. Shake with your left.
They would go. How about how you would go into the little porta johns? You got all these water bottles because they would use their hand and wipe their ass.
Yeah, there was no toilet over there. It was like when you walked into the buildings, it was a fucking hole in the ground, like in the bathroom and shit. They would shit in there and then fucking wipe their hand with wipe their ass with their hand and shit. And then like rinse it off with a little water, I guess, and then go on about their business and shit.
Yeah, they like to. It's just in their culture. Like they'll grab your left hand and like walk with you. It's like a friendship thing, but it could be. We're Americans. We're like, nah, don't grab my hand and like walk with me. That's a little weird. Yeah, I know. A lot of the interpreters, that's part of their culture. I got it.
Yeah.
Now, there are women over there. Were there women dressed in them things, head to toe, and all that stuff? Or are they dressed like normal women?
Both.
Yeah, it depends. I would say, for the most part, women were always usually dressed up in the drab and shit like that. But you had, because they had Shiites and Sunnis and stuff were the main, groups over there. But they also had Christians and stuff. Like we had a couple of female interpreters who, they looked just like a regular old American girl and shit, jeans and a fucking top or whatever, and some fucking shoes and shit. So
they're called Chaldeans. They're Iraqi Christians, Chaldeans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Dizzy Hippo says right now they're saying the Russian army's mostly on speed and Ukraine is on psychedelics. They got shrooms.
Good for them. You want to go to war? Hey, enjoy yourself.
Last time I did shrooms was in Justin's basement.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Street News Network says that thank you guys for your service. And
it was our pleasure. Our pleasure. Yeah. Thank you.
And this guy here, Mike S. says, John McPhee said the lions at the palaces used to go crazy when little kids would walk past. There was actual lions in these palaces and shit?
Bro.
Maybe when Saddam Hussein was there, I guess. Not when I was there. I never came. I'm glad I didn't.
Here's what happened. They bombed the zoo, the Iraqi zoo, and all the animals got out. And you had elephants and tigers and bears, oh my, wandering the streets. Right during the initial invasion. Now, after we occupied the country, the army, because they have the veterinarians, because all the army supplies all the veterinarian service for all the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. So all our military dogs are always seen by Army vets, but they're also responsible for giving all the local animals the vaccinations and capturing them and all that. And there was a lot of wild animals, wildlife that escaped from the zoo because the zoo was bombed. And but John Shrek McPhee, he was a Delta Force guy. That guy, I think he was talking about.
So, okay, just like you're talking about them Humvees. Look, when I was in prison in Gilmer, every prison I was at, the Unicor facility in the prison, they used to do all the military work. Like what I mean is in Gilmer, we actually, I didn't have the job, you know what I mean? But people would actually work on the actual real Hummers and build the real Hummers that you guys are using. And in Sandy, they were making the Army uniforms, Matt, like the green stuff that you guys wear, and all the packs and all. They actually made them in prison, man, and that's how they do. A lot of that stuff's coming through prison. Bro,
I used to sit at a desk every morning and have a calendar on my desk from the military. Pen made in Unicor, Federal Bureau of Prisons, Unicor. I didn't even know what it was then. Back then.
Yeah, I never knew that, man.
Yeah.
Kind of cool information.
All the chairs you see in the offices, they're all assembled in unicorns for the military. A lot made by inmates.
What about building relationships, guys? Like, have you guys ever built relationships with like any of the local people? Like, you take a liking to them, they take a liking to you, and then
The Turks, the interpreters,
labeled as spies.
Yeah, say your interpreters. I mean, you got guys when we were there too. You know, like the guy they had to apply for. You know, I guess like to where you'd have one or two guys, Iraqis and shit like that, they'd be on the fob that would sell, you know, some snacks or some cheap cigarettes and bootleg DVDs and shit. You know what I mean?
I still got all my Haji. I still got all my Haji DVDs.
Dude, I got a whole book full of that shit.
Me too. I got a whole trunk full of them bitches.
Yep, you get a pack of fucking Newports and it'd be like smoking a goddamn fucking tree stick or a stick from a tree. Like it was like a solid piece of nicotine in some of them. But anyways, like the guys, you know, you would build a rapport, you'd start joking with them and shit, and then you know most of them were all right, but there was guys, you know, we had ones especially that was leaking information on like, you know, where certain things were, like on the fob, like where the chow hall was, where the soldiers, like they had a little MWR where you go and watch, like it was called Armed Forces Network Television, and the gyms and stuff like that. If you want to go lift weights and shit on your time off, you wanted to go do that. So they would mark shit, kind of make like a map, and that's when they would start lobbing mortars in and shit. You know what I mean? At certain times, you'd be like, they might go back and tell whoever it is on the outside, like, well, a lot of guys go to chow at this time. And there, you know, it's a big crowd of people at the gym or the telephone center and shit, where you had your calling cards. You can go and you'd have 15, 20 guys in there talking on the phone. Next thing you know, you start hearing mortars come and get lobbed in. So
we had a guy that was an admin guy. He was an army guy. He was a young kid, an admin. Never went outside the wire, never did a mission outside, always stayed in the fob, did all the awards for everyone, fixed pay, did all that.
Yeah.
Dude was coming out of the chow hall with a to-go tray in his hand. Just going back to work to sit and all that. Mortar comes in, split him in half.
Yep.
Dead. Literally, I see 5 minutes later, they come scrape him up, and there was so much blood on the rocks. What they did was they just got black spray paint, Matt, and they just sprayed a big black spot where all his blood and body used to be, and told everybody, line back up, so let's have chow. Let's continue chow. And you're seeing this.
You never think that you would get accustomed to, you know, like when I first got, here's another story. So there was a place called Haifa Street. Right. That at that point in time in Baghdad was a fucking like it was a street you didn't want to go down. You know what I mean? Like imagine like West, you know, like whatever, like most dangerous street in Baltimore is like where everybody's getting shot up.
Was that in Solder, or was that in Solder City? Was that in the Western Sheet?
It was in Baghdad.
Baghdad and around.
Yep. So, and we're riding down the road, like we did what was called left seat, right seat ride. So like when the unit that we were taking over from, they were from Germany, I believe. It had to be. Yeah, they were from Germany. And so, like, we go out on the mission and shit, and we're basically seeing what they do, the routes that they run, how they conduct their business and shit. And we're cruising down Haifa Street, and we're sitting inside the Humvee, and the gunner's hanging out at the top. And I hear this ping hit the Humvee, right? And the fucking big-ass boom, you know, 2 seconds later. Well, a fucking guy was on the roof trying to drop a grenade into the fucking gunner's hatch. And if that would have fucking landed in the fucking gunner's hatch, it'd have killed all of us. Oh, but the gunner is like, he's like, oh, grenade. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, this motherfucker didn't even skip a beat, bro. Like, he didn't, you know what I mean? Like, nothing. Like, it was like shit happens every 20 minutes. And I'm like, I got to look forward to this shit for 12 months. Like, it's going to fucking suck. But then like 3 weeks later, I'm like, oh, bullets. You know what I mean? You get shots pinging off the side of Humvee, or you know, RPGs fucking whistling by you, and mortars walking to go eat fucking lunch. And then you're like, it's like second nature. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever, dude. Fuck it.
Wow.
So
sure, it's amazing what you get used to when you're there.
It's amazing what you can get accustomed to.
After 2 months, it's like no big fuck. Yeah, you go out to where the smoke pit, like where people hang out and just shoot the shit. Who got hit? Oh, so-and-so got killed last night. He got hit. So-and-so got killed yesterday. And you don't see the guy. The guy's always there at the smoke pit, maybe hanging out. And you're like, where's Johnson? He got killed last night. Or
he got no fucking head. He's in a body bag now.
Or he lost his leg, you know, with half of his legs gone. He's in the hospital. It's like, holy fuck. But then after you're just like, oh.
are they real hospitals or are they like a tent or something?
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
no, they
something
well,
it depends on where you're at.
helicopters will take you right to the Baghdad, the hospital there, or one of the main ones.
Yeah,
I
see,
mean,
I
they have
think
medics
Balad had a
there.
big one, and I know
Yeah, Balad.
Baghdad had 86 cash. That was where I went. That was
Yeah,
like basically like a legit hospital and shit.
yeah.
I mean, beat up building like the facility. It's not like what we have here, but it's about the best quality that you could
Yep.
imagine for being in a combat zone. So
Full emergency room, full everything. They could do everything in that hospital, everything,
I
and
remember getting up into the 86 cash after I got blown up and shit, man, and I was fucking hurting, bro. Like, like my adrenaline was rushing so bad, like I didn't really feel the pain at that point in time. But when I got over there, I finally was like relaxed, like instantly, man. Like it hurt, man. Like to say the least, having teeth ripped out of your mouth and shit, your jaw's partially fucking broken, you got fucking little piece of metal in your chest. But they hooked me up to an IV and shit and gave me the liquid morphine. Pain was gone, buddy. I was loving life.
yeah.
So yeah.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah. Did they now on the battlefield when you got hit? You had a medic with you that did
Yeah,
some.
we always carried a medic with us.
Yeah, of course. You got to have your medic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say
So he was able to patch you up temporarily to keep you stable to get you to the hospital.
Yeah, basically. I mean, by the time we got, like I said, we got into a firefight, and I'm going to say it lasted maybe 15 minutes, I guess, if I had to guess. By the time the Apache came in and cleaned shit up, and then I was able to get loaded up into the you got
airlifted. Yeah.
Nah, well, we were still so close to the green zone, and where like it was faster to go in, just a Humvee ambulance. It was up armored and shit. So they threw me in there on the in the ambulance. We got over to the 86 cash. It was me and the other guy, Butch, I was telling you about. Nichols got hit a little bit, like he had some, a little bit of head trauma and shit, but nothing like I did. Like literally, the car, they said, blew up like 10 feet from me. So
yeah.
But
listen, I got a question for both you guys. Now, I'm trying to visualize this place, right? And what I'm getting is, I'm getting like, Matt, you'll understand what I'm talking about because you're from down here. I'm getting like a visual of like Baltimore City. Like there's either rich or poor. There's no middle class.
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you have, yeah, like I'm sure before, like all, we blew everything to smithereens and blah, blah, blah. Like they probably had, middle class, you're rich and then you're fucking poor people. But, you wouldn't be able to tell there was any rich people there, but, at least by the second time, you know what I mean? Like everything was blown, it was, I don't know, like it was just a shithole, man. So,
we leveled that entire country. We leveled
like when I tell you we leveled
everything.
the entire country. There was like they had electricity for maybe a couple hours a day because they had no power grid. Running water was, getting clean water was, next
almost
to
impossible.
none. Yeah, almost impossible. And I mean, it's
where did
a
you guys
financial system and any of that shit. Forget about it.
Wasn't he like in a tunnel or something like that when you guys caught Saddam Hussein?
He was it was called a spider hole. So basically like a bunker. Basically, he was sitting and hiding in and shit. And somehow Fourth ID out of Fort Hood came across him, and found his ass sitting in a spider hole. It looked like I guess, I don't know how long he was down there for, but, obviously from the looks of it, when you see the pictures of him and they're dragging him out of the fucking spider holes, what they called him, he looked a fucking a mess. Like he was sitting down there for like at least a month, dude, and had a shower and shit. And so.
And basically what they did was they took his kids to court, him and his kids to court, and they just hung them, right? That was the point.
Well, no, we killed the kids. We bombed
Uday and Usay got killed in like the tomahawk missiles and all that shit.
Yeah. They shot a missile into their little house that they were held up in.
Yeah. So, but yeah, when Saddam Hussein got, when he was done, that's what his conviction was. Yeah, being hung. So
yeah, they hung him. They hung him. Yeah.
Okay, so now what was the whole thing? It was his whole. The whole thing of going there was the weapons of mass destruction, which never came out or whatever.
Which weren't there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
really, what we should have probably been in, like our focus should have been in Afghanistan, and with Osama bin Laden and like their
Yeah, just getting bin
network.
Laden, not occupying the country, just taking out bin Laden, taking out Al Qaeda, not stabilizing anything, wasting money and blood, our blood, their blood, and our treasure. It was ridiculous. It was all a money laundering grift in the end, based on a lie.
I agree with
Based
you,
on
man.
a
In my
lie.
opinion, it's the same way I feel, man. Like we didn't
Yep.
really have any business being back in Iraq. I think it was sort of like a vendetta and revenge for George W. wanted to get revenge for his fucking dad. You know what I mean?
And Dick Cheney wanted Halliburton. And Dick Cheney wanted Halliburton to get the contracts after to rebuild Iraq. That was it.
And shit like that. They all their fucking rich buddies and politicians.
I mean,
all politicians profit off of war, man.
Absolutely. And how much were those guys getting paid? Those KBR guys that were filling the Humvees and doing all that stuff. How much were they making?
Was making a ridiculous ass amount of money, dude. Like people that were fucking serving a shower were probably making $120,000 a year.
$100,000 a year. Over $100,000 a year. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And then did you ever work with any of they were called Blackwater was the name of the company. They were basically like mercenaries and shit.
Yeah.
So,
I worked with their dogs. I had a dog
CIA guys and shit.
Yeah.
Would fly around in helicopters. You just see them lighting shit up. You know what I mean? Like in the middle of the day, cruising down the road or whatever.
Yeah.
Like these motherfucking dudes were badass, man.
I worked with they had a dog handler too who was a military dog handler, got out, went to go contract with them. I bump into him and I'm like, how much are you making? He goes, bro, I'm making 150,000 here. I'm here 9 months and then I leave for 30 days. It's tax free up to 100 and some thousand. It's tax free. And then you leave country for 30 days, come back and then you're tax free, start over. I'm like, what?
That's why
he was a dog handler like me. I was like
3 to 6 months or whatever. Some of them, like whatever it was, like they'd send them back stateside as soon as they got to that point or whatever. So but these guys, I mean, and I bet 150 grand was probably like the bare minimum for the Blackwater guys, especially like those motherfuckers were making bank, dude. And that was in 2005, you know what I mean? 20 years ago. Like, I can only imagine like if we were there now, what these guys would be making. So
big money.
And again, all tax-free money too.
Yep.
Yeah, buddy.
I guess
it was a racket
of cash in one of the palaces. Is that
true?
That?
Oh, there was a lot of
200 million U.S. cash in one of the palaces.
I'm sure. I mean, like they had money, like American money and stuff like that, and buried in some of those things. But again, like by the after probably 6 months to a year, whatever the fuck was worth any sort of value, like. I can't even say it because I guess I can now because I won't mention their names anyways. I mean, even if I did, they'd have no idea. But so there was a couple of guys that the first tour and shit, they had found, I think it was like $20,000 to $40,000 or something like that. And you can't just go ship that shit back to the States because it's got to go through customs. So it took them basically what they did was like over the period of like 8 months, they would, they had it stashed, you know what I mean? And they would send home so much money per month, you know what I mean, and like spread it out to where like there was nothing that looked like overzealous, that didn't look obvious, you know what I mean, and it never got caught.
Like cars when you're selling drugs and shit.
Well, I got a story. I had these guys from LA. They were a National Guard unit, and they got deployed with us. They were from LA, Los Angeles. Half of them were gang members. The other half were cops or corrections officers. It was insane. Well, with these guys, I would go on raids with them, and I knew they were trouble because these guys were just yahoos, bro. And come to find out, about a year after I got home, now I know for a fact that they were stealing things and they were shipping them home, like Iraqi artifacts, from like 10,000 years ago. Yep. Well, about a year after I'm home, I look at I'm watching the news and I see this ticker and it says ancient Iraqi treasures are being found in pawn shops throughout Los Angeles. I said, I know who those guys are.
Yeah. I mean, it was illegal. And guys did it. How the fuck they got some of this shit? Like a piece of shrapnel, from after I got blown up, like guys, they kept a couple pieces of could have been the art, whatever, but piece of shrapnel and shit, but you can't send it home. You know what I mean? Because it's considered a war trophy. It's illegal and shit. So how some of these guys got away with sending some of the shit home that they did is beyond me, but fuck, good for them, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. So fuck it.
So basically over there, you guys just leveled the fucking place. How long did you have to stay after the whole war or whatever, after your part was done? Did you have to stay there a while, or you were able to come back real quick? How does that work?
For me, or
Yeah, you.
For Matt, you Matt.
Like, I mean, when you're like when you're doing your combat tour, like when you're done, you come back stateside. But so like for me, I should have been coming home. I came home a month early because I got blown up. So I went from when I got blown up the following day, I went from there to Longstuhl, Germany, came back stateside, and I did some time at Walter Reed, like getting shit fixed up and all that shit. And then from there went back to Fort Stewart. You know, and basically it's just business as usual when you get back to the States. So I mean, you start prepping again to go back, you know, depending, like I was at Fort Stewart and they're basically considered a rapid deployment post. So like you'll go to combat, you'll come back. If you do for every 12 months you do in combat, they got to allow you at least 12 months back stateside before they can send you back over. So like you would come back, but in that 12 months, if you're going back, if you're at a rapid deployment post, you know, if you're going back, say 18 months later, at least 6 months out of that time that you're home, you're going to be in the middle of the fucking woods there training or doing, you know, basically preparing for your next combat tour anyway. So, but at least you're not dodging bullets and bombs.
Yeah. If you're not here's how the military, it's like Groundhog's Day. You're either deployed or you're back home training to go on a deployment.
Yeah.
You understand?
Basically.
It's just a constant routine like that. You're either training up to deploy or you're deployed.
Yeah. They call it going to the field.
How was the care there at Walter Reed? How was your care? And I also want to know how
Reed,
did they take care of you?
Oh, it was great, man. I mean, Walter, it's when I was there, Walter Reed was still fairly new then. You know, like they had a campus and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But like the doctors and, you know, the care was amazing, like the facilities and stuff like that, like family were, you know, they would put family, you know, if you were like, there were some guys in there were really fucked up, you know what I mean? Had lost legs or, you know, had 3rd-degree burns all over half of their body. And, you know, guys that were going to be there for, you know, 6 months, a year, at least minimum. And, you know, so they would, you know, for families that were, maybe they lived in Florida or North Carolina or something like that, they would house them up there at no charge, you know, so they could be there to, you know, help, you know, with their spouse or whatever, you know, or their recovery, son or daughter, whatever the case may be. So
they'll pay for, like, you know, in other words, I knew a guy that got hit and like they brought his whole family there, his mother's father. They gave him a little apartment to live there and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, when I was there, when I was at Walter Reed, his name was Timothy Taylor. Like a week after I got blown up, he got blown up, and he took it was an EFP. So he was the driver, and the fucking EFP blew shrapnel cut through the fucking door and blew his. He had nothing but a thumb left. The rest of his 4 fingers were gone. And so
tell him what that is.
An EFP is basically like an IED on steroids, basically. Like
pressure.
I mean, it would cut the up armored Humvees that we had when we were there stood no chance against these fucking things. They would cut through them like Swiss cheese. And when metal hits more steel, it's going to do more damage. Like literally this story I was telling you about, like when it was a guy's got hit with an EFP, a convoy and shit. And we were on QRF. So we had to go out there and basically help them pull security, you know, get the situation under control. You know what I mean? If you got into a firefight, but when we get on scene, like the EFP had cut through one of the Humvees like Swiss cheese. The gunner got cut in half. So his legs were, you know, sitting inside the Humvee. His top half of his torso is laying on the opposite side of the fucking street. And then the TC, which is basically the navigator, like he, you know, did maps and, you know, handled the radio work and shit like that. And everything cooked off. So the Humvee caught on fire. The ammunition that's in there, 300 fucking rounds of 5.56 or 240 Bravo ammunition, which is like 7.62 caliber, and then a fucking AT4, which is a grenade launcher, all cooked off inside this bitch. So you can imagine there wasn't a whole lot left of anybody that was in there. He was basically melted to the fucking seat, and you have to you do what you can do to try to get whatever remains are left to stick in a fucking big body bag. And what you do is you throw them on the fucking hood of the Humvee and you drive them back into the fucking fob wherever you're going. And they'll put them on a C-130 and send them home. So, but this guy was literally, you want to talk about a nasty smell, dude. Like seeing a burnt human fucking body basically melted to a fucking Humvee seat, a cloth seat was that'll give you nightmares fucking for years.
Okay, I want to address Rob Jean real quick, guys.
Yeah.
First off, he said a couple things. Rob Jean said, and I agree with him here, we need to take better care of the military. And he thanks you guys for your service. And also, Rob Jean came
Thank
up
you, Rob.
with, he says, what these guys go through to protect our country is amazing. They should be getting paid for it and then some. And I agree with that also. But I want to ask you guys, do you think that the way veterans are treated, like with the insurance and, you know, the health and the VA hospitals and all, Matt, you've been around, you were in under Bush, the son, correct?
Yeah.
You went to war. So you've been around since then, and you've seen the different administrations take over and all. What's your take on that? What do you think has been the best? What's been the worst? And what's just your take?
I mean, VA care has been shitty for, I mean, as long as I can remember, man. Like, I mean, literally, I mean, they had a big thing where, like, you know, especially a lot of the older vets, man, they were dying waiting for care.
Yep.
Like Trump actually, you know, on his last term, he helped with making you know, where like you didn't, instead of having to wait, instead of having to wait to go see a VA specialist, I mean, or dental care and shit for guys who are 100% like I am.
Yep.
I don't have to wait 6 months to go get my fucking teeth cleaned. Now I can go 3 blocks from my house to the local dentist, and I can get in to get shit done, you know, within a week. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's good and bad and stuff. I mean, I do all right as far as pay goes. I get a military retirement, and you know, I'm 100% disabled through the VA, and I actually even get a little bit more than 100% because of the tinnitus and hearing loss and shit on top of shit.
Sure.
You know, so I mean, but there's also guys out there getting screwed. You know what I mean? Not necessarily because they couldn't be taken care of, but because maybe they're, you know, they don't know like how to file a claim to get a VA disability. You know, and that's part, you know, there should be more information on that type of stuff. I think, you know what I mean? The more educated you are, the better off you're going to be. But that's also leadership and shit like that before you get out of the military. You know what I mean? It's just like when you go to the doctors, you're your best advocate, right? Like, it's got to be the same way with you. Like, if I didn't do the research and shit like that I did, my NCOs and, you know, higher ups and stuff like that. Like, I mean, I was an NCO too, but, you know, higher ups and stuff like that, they weren't taking care of me and making sure that, you know, I had all these claims and shit. And I did all that shit myself. So, and that's why, like, now that I'm, you know, when I retired, I wanted to make sure like that, if I come across a veteran and shit like that, and he saw it, like I meet Joe from the firehouse or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I was a vet and I did a tour in Iraq, or even if you didn't do a tour, you know what I mean, whatever. Like, but if you served our country, you got injured, blah, 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 you have a disability and you're not getting paid for it, I'll help you fucking file the claim for, you know what I mean? I'm not charging anything. Like, I'll volunteer my time and everything else, whatever I can try to do to help you out to get you what you deserve. So, but the only thing that I tell these guys, like, look, I'm not going to chase you down to go fucking file this claim. But if you call me tomorrow, we can sit down, we'll go have lunch. I'll treat us to fucking lunch and I'll help you file that claim. So,
I do that myself. Are you a VSO? Did you go through the VSO course? Veteran Service Officer course?
I just, you know, from everything
you know
that I learned
system.
on my own.
You.
I know the system. So like, and everything now, like, you used to have to file, like, you know, go write down shit on a piece of paper, put it in an envelope or hand carry it down. But now you can do everything digitally online. You know what I mean? Like, once you set up an account, and, you know, like, it's not even outside of just, you know, like getting payments and shit like that for disability, but there's so many other different programs and things like that. A lot of vets have no idea that they're even entitled to, you know what I mean? So.
Well, I want to address that real quick, because Street News said something. It sounds like you could be a good liaison for veterans to help them get the paperwork. Guys, listen, Matt's a very good friend of mine. I could get in touch with him like that. You know what I mean? You find him at any local bar, any night. No, I'm kidding.
Pretty much. I mean, you're not lying.
Look, Matt, you know what I tell the kids?
Anyway, if you guys want to get in touch with Matt, you guys can get in touch with me. I can give this email as a way to contact him if any.
If you got guys that hit you up, man, send them my way, dude. I'll do whatever I can to try to give them a hand with what they need, man.
Beautiful. And, you know, and the good thing, you know, Matt, it's like, I tell these guys that are even in right now, I bump into them at the supermarket or something. He's in his uniform. He's on recruiting duties. I said, listen, anytime you go to the doctor, I don't care if you got an ingrown toenail, you save that paperwork.
Motherfucking right.
Do
I got a goddamn
trust
binder
them
fucking
to hold your paperwork.
Yeah.
You
That's
go
what I
for
said. I said, you get
anything,
back these, you get a pimple when you were in, fucking claim it.
anything.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Why is that though? Why do you got to do that? Why?
Because what happens is if you go to the medical and you say I got a bad back, and throughout your and what they do is some young soldier or sailor will write down, the doctor will look at you, and it's a
Yep.
piece of paper, and they put it. Now at the end of your service, you're like, hey, I hurt my back in the military, and they go, well, we don't have any records. We don't
Exactly.
got
Yep.
no medical records about your back. So
Yep.
when you go, anything you go to the doctor for in the military, say, can I have a copy of that?
Yeah,
That
I
way
used to
you
ask for
have
copies of
you
every fucking thing. You
exactly.
ask for
You
copies
have
of
your
anything
copy.
medical and any
Yes,
fucking piece of paper that you signed, you always get a
everything.
copy of that shit. If you
Before I
put your John
retired,
Hancock on it,
yep.
you better get a copy of it. That was one of the first
Before I
things I learned when I was
retired,
in.
I had all my medical records before I retired. They put them on a CD for me, and I had everything for me. So when I did all my claims, I did it. Boom,
Yep.
I had no problem.
Yep.
So and that's the thing. I tell these guys, no one's going to look after your medical record better than you.
Yep.
So
I'm
make
still to
sure.
this day, I've been retired
Yep.
since 2011, dude. I still have all my medical records.
Me too. Me
Yep.
too. Me too,
I got
buddy.
everything.
Yep.
Every piece of I mean, every fucking sheet. Literally, when I
Mhm.
tell you I have a binder that's about like those huge 3-ring binders, I got
Yep.
a fucking stack of medical shit in there. So
And that's it. So when you get out of the military, you got your medical records, you file your claims. They could say, well, we don't have them. You go, well, I got them. Here you go. Just in case you don't have them, here they are. And you can upload them on that site, like
Yep.
you said, and just submit yourself. Or you can go to a VSO, or right here, Matt's saying help you. I can help you, of course, too. But there's a lot of options out there for these young guys. And I'll tell anybody, whether they're joining tomorrow or they're in currently, if you go to medical in the military, get the copy of the record.
Yep,
Get
no
it.
doubt
They'll
about
give
it,
it to
man.
you. You
Yep.
went to medical on this date. You were seen for your back. That's it.
Yep.
Keep it. Keep
Yep.
everything.
Damn
Go
right.
Sarah,
And
can
go
you
stick
read
it in
that
the
off
fucking
for Rob
binder.
Jean? That's a good comment.
I have family members in the military. The family suffers. You're absolutely right. And everyone else who cares about them suffers while the loved ones is
Yep.
deployed. It's tough. It's a tough thing, but that's the true heroes.
And
Not mob guys. You're right. You're absolutely right, Rob.
Yeah,
I
because
agree
you
with you
got people who
100%.
look up to the wrong types of people, man.
You got to
Yep.
remember. I mean, when I deployed, see, my mother lost 2 kids, and here I am deploying, going to Iraq twice, doing this stuff, working with bomb detection and all that, and it really did a toll mentally on my mother because she worried sick for a long time about me because I was always going places, and she knew what I did, and it does. It takes a huge toll, I mean, as far as marriages, I don't know too many that survive. How about you, man?
Yeah, me neither, man. I was gonna say,
I
like,
don't know too many.
if they
How
didn't
do you
leave, I
keep
mean,
in contact? How do you contact your loved ones? Like, do you got
Email. I mean, now
if
you
they
don't
had
have to write
email and
letters
shit like that,
anymore.
and
Yeah.
I'll say we didn't really. I mean, I wrote letters, but I mean, for something to get from there and then to get back home, it took
Yeah.
a long time. You know what I mean, for the most
Yep.
part. But you had like you could get phone cards and stuff. You know what I mean? 100-minute phone card, 200, 500 minutes or whatever. And you could go over to the phone center. You'd be able to call back home and you could talk to people that way. Or like it was basically, internet, at least in 2005, like wasn't the greatest by any means. You know what I mean? It was like dial up bullshit, but you could send an email or like at that point in time, it was Yahoo Messenger was a big thing. Like that you could sit and chit chat or, you know what I mean? You could video chat, you know what I mean? Because you had webcams were like a newer thing then. So like you could talk to your, whatever, your wife or your girlfriend or your family and shit like that. So if they had one.
But there's one major wrench in that, and it's called a commo blackout, right, Matt? When your unit loses somebody, they cut off all the communications because they don't want you telling this person's mother and wife that they're dead before the military does. So they go on a commo blackout when somebody dies for 4 or 5 days. You got no communication with your family. Your mother's home read the newspaper saying roadside bomb goes off, kills 3 souls, whatever. And I haven't heard from Robert in 2 days. What the so it does,
And it's something, and all right, so you said that, right? So here's another story. And this is pretty fucking wild too. Like, so every night we would get you whatever you were doing the next day, right? You would get, it was called a mission brief the night prior. So we were going to the Ministry of Finance, right? The following day. I forget what we were doing on this particular mission or whatever. But so the night before, we're getting a mission brief. Well, when you come in, you have your weapons locked and loaded when you're out on the streets. When you come back into the fob, you're supposed to clear that weapon in clearing barrel, right?
Yep.
Well, we had a lieutenant, it was either a first lieutenant or second lieutenant, and then usually an E7 was the platoon sergeant that ran the platoons, right? So the lieutenant obviously didn't clear his fucking weapon, and you never point your weapon at anybody, for any fucking reason, period. And this is the reason why you don't do it. We're getting ready to get our mission brief. We're sitting in the hallway, and I'm sitting literally 5 feet from a guy. His name was Tackett. And the lieutenant and him, fucking around, joking, laughing. Well, the lieutenant pointed his fucking M16 at him, squeezed the trigger, and blew half his fucking head all over the fucking wall next to me. Believe it or not, this guy for like 2 hours lived, but that, we had to go on blackout and shit because we couldn't, they got to notify the families and
Matt, when was this?
You know what I mean?
When was this, Matt?
2005.
You want to know something? I remember hearing about that. I remember I had a zipper net, the secret, you get zipper. And I remember reading what do they call? The Army calls them fragos or something. We call them blue dart messages in the Navy. Basically, blue dart means it's blue on blue. A Navy person hurt another Navy person. There's something. So I remember reading something about that. A lieutenant shot someone accidentally. And you just brought that memory back up. I remember reading about that. A lieutenant is like a private first class, basically.
Like they're fucking goofy, retarded motherfuckers, just like a goddamn private. Like, only thing they went to college and got a degree in fucking mathematics or fucking history and shit. But it don't it has nothing to do with combat. Like, shit, to be honest with you, a private first class might have more fucking sense than a goddamn some of the lieutenants. So,
because a private first class
crazy,
knows. A private first class knows I better clear my fucking weapon and make sure it's clear, because God forbid my first sergeant or the sergeant major or my staff sergeant, Jesus, I'll be done.
You'd be fucking toast, man. Like, but again, like the lieutenant, you know what I mean? Like, who's going to check him and shit? The sergeant first class, although he's got 16 years of service, and this Butterbar's been in for a year and a half. He can't tell him to go. He could, but he's, I guess, the E7 probably should have checked him. That's normally what they did. Like, those two would, they would check each other, and then, whatever going down the line, like each gun truck, whoever was in the highest rank, it would go and, basically they would watch you. You know what I mean? Like, like a parole officer would watch a parolee go take a fucking piss test.
It's called, TPI, two-person integrity. You watch me download, I watch you download.
Yeah, basically. So,
Matt, you're a sports fan, a big sports fan like me. Do you remember Pat Tillman? Remember he got killed by the Was that during the same war and everything like that?
Afghanistan.
Yeah, he was in Afghanistan, but same time frame though.
Mm-hmm.
So he got shot by friendly fire and shit. And then, it happens. Some stuff's
happen.
You can't help, if you're out at night, man, doing missions, especially the shit that he was doing, I'm sure, like being, an Army Ranger and stuff like that. These guys are doing some wild shit, you know what I mean? And sometimes, unfortunately, shit happens. But, like this particular, like the lieutenant ended up getting, I think it was, I want to say 8 years in a military brig for involuntary manslaughter.
General court martial.
It was something that basically, like, that could have been avoided, but because of negligence and stupidity, a guy, and the kid Tackett had a wife and a fucking kid. So, yeah.
And then as soon as that happened, what happened? Everybody started going, make sure your weapon's clear.
Oh my God. Yeah,
exactly.
Shit
it
rolls
takes
downhill
something like
what
that.
They say,
Yep. I remember that, Matt. You brought a memory.
Matter of fact, I think for like a period of time after that, they had 2 or 3 guys, at least out at clearing barrels, making sure they would check. You know what I mean? Like, they would watch everybody. Every person that came in had to go up to one of those clearing barrels, and they would verify it and shit. So,
got another question here from Street News Network. This is a good one. What weapons and equipment did they use that you guys liked, and which weapons and equipment you didn't like? Like, what did you prefer?
I mean, the 50 caliber is, to fire that shit in combat that shit'll cut a goddamn brick wall in half. But it's heavy. You got to fucking unload it and shit when you're the gunner each and every day in 130 degrees after being out on a fucking mission for 9 hours, carrying a fucking 100-pound fucking machine gun sucks, and cleaning it and keeping it maintenance and shit like that, not the funnest thing. I've shot the M249, which is they call it a squad automatic weapon, and a 240 Bravo's fun too. A little bit heavier, but not as bad, nowhere near as bad as a 50 cal, but all fun to fire and shit. So
I was a dog handler.
Cool.
Yeah, I was a dog handler. I had an M16 and a Beretta 9 because I was a military policeman, but we had to carry a pistol and a rifle because of the dog. And, wild dogs would always run out of the garbage and shit and try to bite my dog. And I would have to shoot the fucking wild dogs. I felt more guilty about that than the humans, to be honest with you.
That's easy.
Because these wild dogs, if my dog will want to fight them, these dogs got rabies, and if my dog gets even touched by one of these dogs, I got to run them to the vet, and they got to fly me out in a helicopter. My dog has to get quarantined, whatever. So these wild dogs that would come out of the fucking garbage, they would be licking dead body, all kinds of dead animals. I would try to scare them away. If they didn't get away, I'd pop them, or I'd have someone with me pop them. Like whatever, one of the guys who, hey, pop, kill that one over there. I didn't like doing that, but it was something I had to do to protect the dog, the asset.
Yeah.
I got to shoot all your weapons when I went through CRC, but I just carried a rifle and a pistol. I was there for, I was there to sniff, look for bombs, So
the M4s, like in the sites you got to use when we were over there, like they were called ACOG sites, like, you know what I mean? So you could see something like it's 3 football fields away. It looks like it's like 10 feet from you and shit. So they were neat. And then holograph sites and shit were kind of cool. Honeycomb sites. So.
Damn, it's a lot of different shit. So now when you go to like boot camp and all, you're trained with all them weapons during boot camp, or is that after boot camp?
No, well, I mean, everybody trains on, it's either an M6. Mostly it's a lot of M4s and shit now. So like M16s, I think are kind of going, to the wayside, I guess. M4's got the adjustable butt stocks and, different, modifications and things like that make it a little bit easier and more convenient, to fire and shit. So, but you always do basic marksmanship training. You get to throw a grenade while you're in basic training. You got to go through the fucking gas chamber, which that fucking sucks. But, and then sometimes you'll get at least we did. Like we fired the 50 cal and we fired the 249. We didn't get to fire 240 Bravos, but we fired 50 cals and 249s and M16s or M4s.
Wow.
So
I know when I got to throw a grenade doing the Army training, and I remember when I got in the bunker to throw it, he had this big black guy, sergeant first class, big, like, thick as hell. He grabbed these grenades like, a squid in here? What the fuck? He's like, oh my God, we're gonna. I'm like, I'm here to throw a grenade, Sergeant. He's like, he was like, oh my God, a Navy guy, he's gonna kill us throwing a grenade. I'm like, no. So I remember doing that. It was really cool.
Branches, right? Do you guys get along? Because I've heard like people.
We all get along. We make fun of each other.
Everybody, like I mean, like you got jarheads and seamen and
man.
But end of the day, everybody agrees.
What's their nickname? What's the Army guys?
Fuck, I don't know.
G.I. Joe. I call him G.I.
Joe or
G.I. Joes.
Or like people like you know what a Jody is. Everybody knows. If you've been in the military, you know who Jody is. So Jody's the guy. Jody's the guy who's fucking your girl or your wife while you're over in combat.
Yeah, we call him Tank Top Tony.
What do you call him? Tank Top Tony? Yeah, Jody. We call him Jodies. Yeah. How about those guys that we get the Dear John letters? Do you have guys that got Dear John letters while we're down there, Matt? Their wife left them, took all the furniture out of the house.
His name was Peoples, Private People or Specialist Peoples. And his wife, he was married to her for, 3 months before we got deployed. She never even had the common courtesy to even fucking send him a letter while I was over there to say, hey, babe, I'm taking all your shit and I'm fucking draining your bank account and I'm bouncing. I'm moving back home. He came back to the state and his whole fucking house was completely empty, fucking with an eviction notice and shit and had no money in the bank, man. So
that happened to a guy I knew too. He came home on his 15 days leave. His wife left. His house was completely cleaned out. His bank account was drained. He came back. He was like, they had him on suicide. He was just homicidal, bro. He wanted to, he was. Yeah, so he but we calmed him down, and everything. It took him a little bit. I mean, Anybody would go off the deep end like that after being over there 6-7 months and then coming home for 15 days and your
Yeah.
wife and she would talk to him on the phone and like, you know, placate him and tell him like, but when he got home, there was a letter. She left. She went to another place. She's with her mom. She wanted nothing to do it. Like it was rough for the guy. I felt for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, yeah, that's got to be horrible because, like, you're sitting there. It's okay. It's one thing when you go to prison. Listen, all of us when we go to prison, we know what's going to happen. You understand what I'm saying? We already know. You know, so we said we're ready for that. We got a stable and all that stuff. But and it still sucks. You know what I mean? But I can imagine you're sitting here fighting for your country. You're still supporting your family and all this kind of stuff, and they just. I mean, that would drive you nuts, man. I feel bad for that.
Yeah, shit. That's why I remember when we came home fucking the first time and shit. You go it like they call it parade field. So you go and you fly back to the States, whatever, and you know, you get on a bus from whatever, you know, wherever you're at. Like we flew into Hunter Army Airfield, which is in like right outside of Savannah, and you go to the parade field, you get in a formation, blah, blah, and they release you back to your families. Well, there was a fucking soldier that he must have found, you know, he must have knew like his wife was fucking around on him shit. So she comes running up to him to give him a hug, and he gave her a fucking left hook and laid her the fuck out, dude.
Oh! Oh my God!
I mean,
Oh
it's
my
funny, but
God.
it's not
That
funny. Like you
had to
shouldn't put
be-
your hands on a woman. But
That's hilarious.
I mean,
Oh
this
my
dude was over there,
God.
you know what I mean,
Hilarious.
fighting in combat, and his old lady's
Yeah.
fucking around on him and shit. And
Yeah.
next thing you know, yeah, like I don't know. I guess I probably
it's-
want to do the fucking same fucking thing. So
Bro, it's
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Like, you know, it's lucky.
Bro,
man. So, like, something like
just
that.
being in
That's
the
true.
military, you got all these. I mean, it's just like honestly, military and marriage just isn't conducive. It just isn't conducive. It doesn't go together well, and it really doesn't. The lifestyle. I mean,
Well,
it's
what if
hard
both of
when
you
you're
guys are in
away all the
military?
time.
It could probably work.
Huh?
If both of them are in the military, you know, isn't that?
That's even. I think that might even be more difficult because you're. I mean,
yeah, so
I
you
don't
probably
know,
spend
man.
less time together and shit because you're, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, just you
You
may
can't
be
be
in the
at the
fucking
same
field, they
place.
may be somewhere
Yeah.
else. Yeah, you know
You
what I mean.
can't
Like
be on you. Yeah, you can't be in the.
Oh,
You
okay.
can't be stationed with your wife on the same ship, and you can't be stationed with your wife at the same shore command. She has
Yeah.
to be somewhere else from you because if got like they have a ship. It's called the Sullivans because it's named after 5 brothers that were all on the same ship and it went down. And when they came to tell the chaplain, the mother said, "Which one is it?" And he said, "All 5." That's
Yep.
why they are not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now you guys
Yep.
are in there with girls.
Well, I would in 05 and 07, I was in the combat arms. There wasn't women in the combat arms
Hell
then.
no, I was gonna say, yeah, I didn't see. I
Yeah,
seen 2 women almost the whole year, and that was the interpreter.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
and then the 70-year-old fucking National Guard male lady.
yeah, or the finance.
And
What they
after
would
about
do,
10 months, even she looked a little decent.
she looked
Yeah.
great. Listen, they would bring these finance girls to fix pay like once a month, and it would be like 5 of them, and they would bring them on a helo, and they would say, and just them walking by us, the smell, it's like, and every
Yeah.
month these girls became more and more attractive. More and
Yeah.
more attractive, you know, and the
Yep.
sergeant may be like, "You leave those girls alone, motherfuckers!" Like, you know, we're like, okay.
Yep.
Did any of
Yep.
the women ever get pregnant?
What, like
I
the
didn't see
Iraqi
that.
girls or like the
Yeah, or
soldiers?
anybody? Like, you know what I mean?
There was a
I'm
guy,
sure
his
it
name's
happens.
Lopez, when we were there, that he was fucking one of the interpreters, actually, come to
Yes,
find out.
I've heard of that.
Yep. He was fucking one of the interpreters, man.
Yep.
Jason Lopez was his name. He got killed
Yeah.
when we were over there too, actually.
Yeah, we had a guy in one of the. I was at the 464. I was supporting tankers. This
Oh, yeah, I
tanker
remember
unit,
464.
464. Yeah, and I
Yep.
was with them, and they had a real hot interpreter, and she pretty girl, and she spoke English great too, you know. And one of the young guys in there, one of the meatheads, was nailing her. And if he got caught though, it's bad. You get in big trouble for that.
Oh yeah, hell yeah,
Yep.
yep,
Wow.
yeah. Well, look, hey guys, I hate to. I don't want
Yeah,
to cut
Matt,
my,
we've been
my
on for an
time
hour
short.
and a half. Look, I want to say something. Listen, this is called the Man Hour. I know we did the military thing today, but Matt, you're an interesting guy, good friend of mine.
Definitely.
And you're into like all the same shit that I am, like sports and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, just keep dropping by if you want. Anytime you want
Definitely.
to drop one.
Yeah,
I
shit,
wanna
man. Shit.
talk
If you're
a
gonna
little bit
do
about
something
what
like,
you do
especially
for
you got topic sports or fucking gambling or all the degenerative shit, dude. fucking shoot me a text, man. I'll definitely come on and join, man. This was fun,
next
dude.
time I want to talk about like how you work with the Orioles and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm with that.
Okay. Shit, I didn't know that.
All right,
and Matt,
man.
listen, Matt, he's got my
I'm
Eric's
giving
got
you guys each other's numbers.
Yeah, Eric's got my
get
number.
my
I was gonna
contact
say,
information for me, and then email me, shoot me a text or whatever, man.
yeah, let's talk, man.
So,
you and I, yeah, definitely, bro.
Yeah,
Good.
definitely,
Thank
man.
you.
I had a blast, fellas. I appreciate
Thanks,
you having
bro.
me on, E.
All right.
Thank you for coming,
All right,
man.
thanks.
Thank you for coming on the show,
Matt.
man. God bless
All
you,
right,
brother.
guys.
All right,
Talk
see
to
you
you
later, man.
Later.
All right, Sailor. Yeah, that's I've known Matt. I met Matt the day I got out of prison in 2014. Yeah. Wound up being a bar fight that night.
Okay. I like Matt, man.
Yeah,
I like Matt. He's my kind of dude.
Really
definitely,
down to
bro.
earth, really down to earth guy.
Definitely.
Yeah, everybody in the chat was good. We had a problem. I can't believe that. I'm going to address something, man, about this YouTube shit. Michael Sacchio, man, and we're not even going to play a game here, man. I'm not even going to call him out his name or nothing. Michael Sacchio, you should be fucking disgusted with yourself, man. I took the comment down, but I mean, we're having a show here, you know what I mean? And he's going to come over and say something about ask him about Stolen Valor, Harry, or something. I mean, we're not doing that over here, Michael Sacchio. We have real people, we have real shows, and you're welcome to come and contribute in a good way. But I mean, come on, man, that's like Bush League. Like, I don't.
Mike, you're 70 years old.
That kind of stuff.
When are you going to grow up? You're 70 years old, Sacchio.
Right. You are a big time loser, man. Like, I can't believe that, You're 70 fucking years old and you sit on the internet and talk about people and you're not even satisfied doing that 6 hours a night on your own. You would rather come over and fuck with people who aren't doing this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I can see why this guy has no friends anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you heard the guest that we just had. I mean, this guy lost his face was fucking mangled for this country. And you're coming in here bringing that dumb shit.
My friends, Michael Sacchio, my friends don't know about YouTube and none of this fake stuff. I don't bring fake shit on here. You know what I mean? But like to do that you should be fucking disgusted with yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, come on, man. I don't do that. And I don't even know you, man. I don't even know you. You're always coming and saying something smart. I'll tell you this. I would slap the fuck out of you. If you were around me, I don't give a fuck if you're 70 or not. If you'd have been around me and did that, I'd have slapped the shit out of you.
You have no decency, Sacchio. Grow up.
Yeah.
Anyway, other than that, it was an awesome show.
Yeah. But I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to do, just for the audience and stuff. Yeah, Rob Jean, just the fucking bringing that mob tube shit over here with, just dumb shit. Like they do that kind of stuff to me. And like, I'm like, come on, man. I know these people who are up here. I don't act like this in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like we have normal lives. We have fun. We all talk, we reminisce. And I mean, to come over and do something like this and, and truthfully, Stone Sailor, I want to thank you because I remember I had called you earlier, like, you ready? Because I really don't know, like how you guys were talking. I don't know how to talk like that, because I've never.
It's all right. I mean, it's.
But I mean, for him to come over with that's just some shit, man. Yeah. That's just some total shit, man. You should feel like a real shitbag. I hope you hang yourself, man. I really do. I hope you hang yourself. You're a piece of shit. And if I ever see you, I'm smacking the fuck out of your old ass. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You're an old bitch. And that's away from all the gay shit and all that kind of shit. And you're right up the street, bitch. Yeah. It ain't a threat. It's a fucking warning, you faggot. Fucking punk. That's some bitch ass shit.
Anybody else? Hey, any other comments that we missed? I remember we got gigged on that. Did we miss any other comments or any questions? Anybody?
So I did take one. I skipped one. I didn't know if it was going to be.
Ignore that idiot. That's Sacchio.
Somebody said, I don't know if they were trolling or not, though. They said they had a question for you. How was it leading men or something like that? I just want to shout everybody out there still here. Joe Root, Damien, my man.
It was the greatest privilege of my life. Leading men. Yes. Being an NCO was the greatest privilege of my life when you're a leader. And Matt was an NCO too. So he led men too. So he understands that it's a privilege and it's an honor.
So that was a real question.
No, it was a real question, but I understand it was also a slight. I know where it came from.
Okay. Well, Mike
But
S,
it's
man, I want to say something. Mike S, man, you had some good comments. Kodak, what's up? Had some good comments. I mean, everybody had good comments, man. I hope that everybody got their questions answered. I'm sorry if I missed anybody. Hey, Bella, what's up? Hopefully you're still here. Yeah, it was Tony Silo's backup, whoever this is. Hey, Eric, could you ask Sailor what it felt like when he led men in battle? So that's a troll question, or is that a real question?
It's a troll. Well, what they're trying to say is that I wasn't in a battle. And war, like Matt just described, yes, we were in battle. That's battle,
Yeah, they're
baby.
out of here. Michael Moormile, what's up, buddy? Yeah, so look, what we're going to be doing with this show, guys, this is going to be the man hour. This isn't Mob Tube. We'll still talk about some things, and we'll still talk a little bit about the genre. But yeah, Rich, I'm not worried about the trolls. They're going to learn.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you,
block them out.
James Delta 88. But what we're going to do, and I talked to Sailor earlier, and remember I talked to you, Sailor. We're gonna have to really get a schedule of what days we're going to be on. We're going to let everybody know ahead of time if we're bringing a guest on, what our topics are going to be. You know what I mean? So like, because we're covering so much here. Like I said, this is the man hour. So we can talk about prison. We can talk about sports. We can talk about the military. Anybody who has a story or has any experience, just reach out to me if you ever want to come on and kick it. You know, Damien's always welcome. Guys like Matt are always welcome. Rob Jean. Yeah, Rob Jean, I can't agree with you more, man. And Rob's a real dude, man. I've seen Rob. I just probably first time we've spoke on here, Rob was like, thank you, Bob. Thank you. Was about a week ago. But I've seen you, Rob, for a while, and you seem like a real dude. You know what I'm saying? So I will say that, Rob. I'm glad to have you over here. But yeah, that's the direction we're going, man. Look, we'll report on this. Like, look what we got going on now. We're not going to get in these fights, but we will report on them. Just like we're going to report on this big fight going on with the troll army and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Right now, the troll army is at odds with Angel Gotti and what's the guy's name? Jim Terry.
Jim Terry. I mean?
So there's a lot going on there. So I mean, we can talk about that kind of stuff. And also, I told you today, I got a message from somebody's son, an underboss's son. Actually, it was somebody messed up and sent me a wrong kind of message, and I went back at them. And then when people found out who was who and stuff like that, the guy's son contacted me. He's a good guy, and we're working on getting some of these guys out of prison. You know, so sometimes if I say something about these guys, where I'm like, they're harmless, they're old men. These guys some people might get offended. Oh, he's talking that. No, guys, I'm humanizing these guys because what's happening now is these laws are changing. I'm seeing, all right, Joe Root, you have a good night. These laws are changing now, guys, and people are coming home, and there's hope for some of these men. You know what I mean? And I want to bring awareness to that. So if anybody's ever offended, see, here was the problem, Sailor. The person who made the comment didn't watch my content. And then they went off of phone calls. They were just like, hey, I said, hey, I'm right here. Because this was a Philadelphia thing or whatever. I said, I'm right here. So next thing you know, a couple phone calls were made. Then I got a message that said, hey, took it down. You know what I mean? That girl, they didn't know what they were doing. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe they didn't get content. And then the other guy hit me up. Was like, look, man, we see what you're doing. We'd appreciate it. And I appreciate that comment. But and I also told them, I said, I was sorry for if they didn't understand, because once again, the mob tube trash fell over on me. Because they probably looked at it, seen the title, seen me talk about the case. And their thing was, you're just spewing the same stuff that the informant said or something like, because I was reading the compassionate release thing. And the girl, she didn't understand what I was doing, like reading the case and saying how the guy should be out.
Well.
But anyway, that's technically not their fault either, because there's been so much trash in this mob tube stuff, and it has fallen over on me. Right now, if you look at what's going on over there with the troll army and this Angel Gotti stuff, I don't got a dog in the fight. But I will say this. I will say, when certain points are brought up, who's right and who's wrong. and they're bringing up different points each way. There's a lot of baggage on each side. You have guys now from another genre who are teaming up with this troll army. Now, listen, I haven't been around for 3 years, guys, and I've never really seen this troll army in action. Truthfully, I'm not gonna lie. They've done a little shit on me or whatever, but that's all fair game. Who cares? But I've never seen them in action. I think they're really at war now. I'm dead serious. I think they've actually linked up with some of the same people who are going after that guy from his genre. There's people, I guess, going on. It's just wild. It's something to pay attention to. But
Okay.
Angel has moved on from MobTube, it looks like, and she cut some of the people. I don't know. It's just, you guys got to pay attention. So we'll talk about stuff like that and stuff, guys, but we're not going to be talking about nobody personally and bashing. We can all give our opinions and stuff. But I want to start bringing different people on the show. And like I said, I want Matt to come back because Matt works with the Orioles right now and stuff like that. He does a lot of cool
we
shit.
didn't even get to scratch the surface on that.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be nice to hear. He's working for the Orioles, and wow, okay, good.
Yeah. So yeah, me and him met 2014. Then there was some shit went on in 2015. A bunch of fake motherfuckers, right? Tried to do something to him, right? Or try to, how motherfuckers do. So the word got to me. He'll tell you. You know what I'm saying? He'll tell you what happened. Yeah. Everybody was very polite afterwards. But that's how things go. But I just want to take this show in a different direction. And this is a place where everybody can come. Everybody can participate. If you participate to the chat, this chat was, this was real. You understand what I'm saying? This was real.
Exactly.
If you think them two guys right now going back and forth with all that shit you guys were talking, did that on the fly, you must be the best stolen whatever it is ever. You know what I mean? But that's the kind of stuff that makes me sick. Like you said, a 70-year-old transgender or whatever, and he tells a story they had sex with a transgender back in 1970 something. Bro, they looked like men back then. Now, it's fucked up to do it now, don't get me wrong, but you could actually probably get tricked now. There's no way you got tricked back then. Is there, Sailor? I mean, think about that.
I just like... I mean,
this is what that guy's been doing his entire life.
I think you could only
dick and bothering people.
I think, in my opinion, you could only be tricked if you allow yourself to be tricked. If you want to allow yourself to be tricked, then. Ain't
no way you're getting tricked back then.
I mean, it's a good excuse for someone who's trying to hide their lifestyle, and I it's a good cover. You got to remember, people weren't as acceptable back then with that lifestyle as they are today. So I don't know.
Apparently he was.
He's always been comfortable, I guess.
He's disgusting.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
And Rob, anytime you want to come up, man, you could come up, and kick it or whatever. Like I said, it's the man hour. You're not a beta. You know what I'm saying? See, we beta block them.
Beta block all of them.
Yeah, And honestly, I didn't even block that Satchio guy. And the reason why is because I guess you could say he's a content creator, and I try to give the guy a chance. You know what I mean? But man, fuck that dude. He's a pedophile.
He's a weirdo. He's definitely a weirdo. I mean, we have a real show here with someone who had their face mangled and spit out teeth for this country. And you want to come in with that kind of shit? Like, you're 70 years old, Michael. Grow up.
Yeah.
Grow up, man.
Here's the thing. I haven't said a word about this weirdo. And at the end of the day, I can show you right now from each side people doing shows on him.
Yeah.
Bro, nobody likes you.
No.
Nobody likes you.
Nobody likes you. No.
So don't come over here. I don't go to your fucking show. I don't come over here, man. That was fucking disrespectful as hell, man. I swear to God, if I ever see your old ass, I'm going to fuck you up. And I'm dead fucking serious. And go ahead tonight and say, I'll do this. No, you won't, bitch. No, you won't, bitch. I'd have fucked you up when I was 14 and you were 30. You know what I'm saying? I will fuck you up, you old bitch. And that's the truth. And I'll smoke a cigarette while I'm doing it, you faggot. Sickening.
Now, that's good content. Now, Yeah, he's
sick though, man. I
there's
mean,
no decency, man. There's no decency, bro. Really. Come on, Michael. What's
that's
wrong with you?
disgusting. That's disgusting. Now,
That's not, I
you know
mean,
what? I believe that.
you don't have Satchel, you don't have content like this on your fucking show. I know you're jealous.
Yeah,
I can't even listen to your voice for more than 30 seconds.
He's a piece of shit, man. That's probably the biggest piece of shit in here. That's why I'm glad that iDubbbz got away from him. It wasn't iDubbbz.
Oh,
I thought iDubbbz was the one. It wasn't. It was him.
Oh, iDubbbz isn't friends with him anymore? I don't know.
No. He got away from him. He was smart. iDubbbz is smart. iDubbbz honestly ain't that bad of a person. Like when he talks and stuff, I thought he was a goofball because he was around that goofball. But like if he's by himself, like nah, he's not all that. He's not a bad guy, you know. But what's up, Mike? When you were younger and more gay,
I thought too, you know, because I'm kind of like, all right, goofball by association, you know. So
yeah. Yeah, well, that's what happens. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens. But like, you got to give people a chance. Like, but that now I see what that guy's about. He's just about starting trouble. That's why nobody likes him.
Well, think about it. You want to go into the mob genre, but your first story is you got oral sex from a transsexual. Like, I mean, that's not a way to introduce yourself to the mob genre. You know what I mean? That's a really crazy way to go about doing it. And people have given you shit ever since you've done it. And you're upset about it. You have thin skin, blah, 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 this and that. And you get your feelings hurt. And then you do stuff like this. It's just ridiculous. Blame yourself, because that's who you should blame. That's where the blame is.
Look at this guy, Fibber McCarthy. Now look, watch this.
Oh boy.
Hello, Eric. I love your story. I wish you luck and will be inclined to donate. But associating with pizza tells me you're not a worthwhile person. Ooh, don't donate, buddy. Ooh, I'm crying.
Oh boy.
I'm crying. It's going to really affect me. You fucking
we'll miss the $2.
He ain't never donated. Not listen. Listen, these are the people that are they can't even go on Angel Gotti's show because they can't afford the $5. That's one of them. That's a diaper sniffer. Yeah.
Fake gangsters and brokesters.
Yeah, he's diaper sniffer. He's out of here. Yeah, but that's 100% the real Satchio. 100% it was. 100%. He's not getting away with that. It's 100% him. I checked the thing. And this is another one, 2,000 subscribers. Oh, well, at least you're Satchio troll. Yeah, but the real Satchio came over here.
Hit the like, Satchio.
What a piece of shit, man. I'm gonna catch that bitch. Watch. What's up, Maverick? Yeah,
Maverick,
we're not gonna get involved in all that other shit though. But
we're staying out of that. Chris Capella, what's up, big dog?
Yeah, and thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Soretti, big dog.
What's up, Soretti?
Rob Jean, I'm not gonna repeat.
What did Rob Jean say?
I'm not repeating it. You agree? Mike, might.
What's up?
I might hurt you.
Godzilla's about to come on. Let me see. Did I get a notification? I'm subscribed to that. Yeah, I got Jeff Nadeau, Chad.
Oh, Jeff Nadeau, Chad.
Yeah.
Rich, what's up? Rob Jean, Joe Root. People that are here tonight. Sashio's Delta 88.
Why don't I get notifications for him though? I'm subscribed, it says. I actually watched the shit. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, they're going at it. People are catching on. They got to post up about that Terry guy. Oh shit. Dabs of Durkee. What is Durkee?
I don't. You know what? I've been asking around. No one's been able. Is this a person? They say it's a community. What the fuck is a Durkee? What is a Durkee? I don't know.
I have no clue. And listen, this is going to be a good fight, guys.
Yeah, and we'll sit back, relax, watch it, and then do reactions to it. That's all. That sounds like a nice little.
Eric, did your uncle tell you when the pizza family reunion is? Yeah, it was when your mother was blowing me. What the fuck is wrong with these people?
They're just
Listen,
clowns.
and then they sit here and talk about this guy Tony Pizza, right? And it's like they stalk the guy.
Yeah.
Tony Pizza ain't
I
over
know.
here right now. Tony Pizza ain't. I haven't mentioned him. I don't mention him on the show actually. Never.
I know.
Unless it has something to
Well,
do with
they're
him.
obsessed with him. They're obsessed with him. So
Yeah, that's fucking nuts. They're like
Yeah.
fans. You know what I mean? Listen, that's why I sit back, man, and I observe shit. I know, like, that guy said a bunch of crazy shit, all Tony has, but like,
yeah, he has some terrible stuff. But
because look at what these people do to him.
yeah, they torture him, and and he gets mad and he says crazy shit, and it just keeps going and going and going, you know. And you know, it's vicious cycles.
It's wild, man. But you can't. But that's why I was talking to you earlier about Sailor, about how you know, I want to put a little bit of time in and brush up on some things with us, and then, you know, we'll take our community and our people. We're going to do something bigger, man.
Definitely.
We're going to get out of here, because it's just like, it's total. Like, you got the pedophile ring, you got all these fake mobsters and all these fake motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And it's just too much shit, man. You know what I mean? It's too much fucking shit. A bunch of
I want some reality. You know, me too. I'm soured on it. I want some reality, and I'm glad we hooked up and we're doing this. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, but Rob G, man, I agree with you totally, man, about this shit. You know, and Rob G's a no nonsense guy. I can tell that. You know what I mean? It's just like,
I never met Rob. I never met Rob.
Right,
I've seen his name around, but I've never met him.
He doesn't get it. Listen, he doesn't get into shit, but he ain't gonna take no shit. He's that type of
Yeah, there's no wrong with that. That's a good way to live your life.
Yeah.
That's a good way to live.
Man. That's a man. A real man ain't got shit to do, you know, with all this weird shit. You know, Rob works. You know, he's shit like that.
Oh, he's got a real job. Well, that's he's doing better than 98% of this community.
He's got you, Rob G. You got a job.
Yeah, right.
What's up? Assalamu alaikum.
If you're gainfully employed, you are a black sheep in this community. If you're gainfully employed or retired like me.
Oh man, my man Black Power. Listen to this shit.
Black Power.
What's good, Kings? My bad. I've been busy. I'm dating a mother and daughter. They some pretty white girls. Man, them snow girls and wild.
BP, baby. That's BP. What's up, King?
Black Power. Yeah.
My dog.
Yeah, so this shit is just like, I mean, some of the stuff, man, listen, I'm going to be honest. Like, some of the stuff, even the stuff, I know, I can't believe that either, Sam, man. Like, you know, you got to know the differences in shows, man. Like, come on, that wasn't right to do.
Yeah, you know? This wasn't no Mob Tube, BS show. This was a real show. We had a real person on here that went through real shit for this country. And you come in, like, you have no decency, Sashio. You have no decency. Grow up, man. 70-year-old man acting like this. It's insane.
Well, you know what? It probably touched the nerve with him too, though. Let's give him a little break because, you know, his wife is a whore, right? She wasn't in strip clubs. So, you know, the military guys go to them strip clubs, and his wife,
we do.
Military guys and shit. You know what I mean? Because listen, I'll tell you this, Satcho, you keep on talking shit, but I grew up in strip clubs, motherfucker. And let me tell you something. No, they don't advertise prostitution, but if a girl ain't selling herself, she ain't gonna be there long. And I'll explain to you why, Stone Sailor. They won't fire her because of that. But basically this, put yourself in the position. You're the club owner, right? All right. So now I'm some big time motherfucker, a judge, a lawyer, an athlete or something. I come in the club. So I'm in there spending thousands and I like her, but she don't sell pussy or nothing like that. And all of a sudden I come up to you, Rob. I'm like, man, you know, what's it cost me to get her? You know, and you go to her and she says, well, I'm not doing that, but I spend tons of money. You're going to wind up getting rid of her and replacing her with a girl who will.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me.
Right.
I mean, you know, you got a guy
because his wife, that whore, she kind of looks like a dude though, too, though. She's real skinny. I mean, I don't know. These people are disgusting. And another thing, he bought her because he says his bride. When you say my bride, that's you bought something, man. It's probably we're going to check you out, though, buddy. We're going to check you out now, you fucking diaper sniffing Herbert the pervert bitch. You know what I mean? That was fucking disgusting what you did, you fucking punk. You sick fuck. And then no matter how bad I beat you up or smack you or whatever the fuck I'm going to do to you, it's never going to be as bad as what you just did, bitch. And I don't care in any way. Who gives a fuck? Fuck it. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck. I'm sure more people will be happy about it than will be sad. You know, I just can't believe the disrespectfulness of these people. I don't know, Sailor, but
we did a great show though. We had a great show, and Matt, man, I mean, great guest. So
yeah, Matt will be back on. And what we're
yeah.
gonna do, we'll call when we're getting in on this stuff. Oh, the truth. What's up with your boy, man? John Wolf or whatever. I ain't been around to him, but I seen him the other day. He had some thing on me on Rumble or something. I've never read it. Apparently he's got a blog or something. I hope it's going good though. The truth, you know what I mean? I'm not able to open it or what. I don't know because I don't follow it. But or I really didn't try, but I just
I haven't heard that name, John Wolf, in a while.
I don't know. He's right about me. I don't know if he said anything good or bad. You know what I mean? But I think he's friends.
He used to have a channel, I think, John Wolf.
Yeah, I don't know who the guy is, but you know, I don't know what he's saying, but I think the truth knows him. You know, I mean, the truth is a friend of the show. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Put in a good word for me. You know, but $8,000 Brighton Beach Russian. They pay to marry you for. Oh, so Bob, you know a little bit about that? Yeah, what he did tonight, Sam the Man, that was fucking disgusting. You're sitting here talking to, and maybe, I don't know if you and Stone Sailor have a past. I don't know if you've ever been into it with him, okay? But at the end of the day.
I don't like him. I have no respect for him.
You guys heard me right here. I had to walk him through how to come over to the show. You know what I mean? He doesn't have nothing to do with this kind of shit, man.
Yep.
And for you to come in there and say that, you know what I mean? And he said something about, you see, now you know you're going to get tore up by Chicago Muscle because I think that's who he was referring to. He said Harry, I think.
Yeah.
And that's something else I knew nothing about. I knew nothing about this.
Well, yeah. And by the way, Harry's father was wounded and taken prisoner by the North Koreans. It was a Marine, a real Marine. So, you know, just like Matt, you know, he took a bullet. He took for this country, Purple Heart recipient, you know, just like Matt. So either way. I didn't like Sashio. I had no respect for him before he did this. So I don't. This is, you know, this just proves my point that he's a scumbag, and I want nothing to do with him.
Yeah,
zero.
He's looking for a home. See, here's the thing you don't realize. I'm not involved in none of these fights, you faggot. He's looking to impress somebody. I don't know who he's looking to impress, but I'm not out here. Listen, I've been in a couple fights or whatever recently or something. Those things are over with, man. It's done. I'm not going to keep going back to that. I'm going to keep moving on, Sachio. So, you know, I don't know who you're trying to impress, but you already denounced MRE and them. Angel and them fucking gave you the boot. Then you gave them the boot. I don't know who likes you, man.
Yeah, I don't know who's. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch his show, but I know he can't have that many people there because he's pretty much, well, no, disrespected everybody.
He's getting people because he talks about people, and all they're doing is hate watching.
Yeah,
the man doesn't get a donation. He don't get nothing. Like nobody cares about that guy. Fucking, hopefully he dies soon. You know what I mean? You know, especially that he's a piece of shit. He's a traitor to the. He's definitely a piece of shit. That right there was stolen valor, if you ask me. That was stolen valor because you have
very
military veteran up here talking their experience, and you would come in with a fucked up comment like that. You know, trying to stir it back into mob too, but you know nothing about the mob. None of that shit.
Nothing.
You might have wanted to blow John Gotti back in the day because he was good looking or something, but hey, that don't count.
Eric, this guy shot heroin for a majority of his life. So I
think they said he's doing it again. He's getting high again.
He's back off the. Oh, okay, so he's off the wet. Well, I don't. He said he was
heroin now though. That's the problem. That's the problem. What's he doing?
I don't know. I know he smokes weed and drinks alcohol. That doesn't sound like sobriety to me, in my opinion.
Well, they call that California clean or something. I know.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't got a problem with that. Like, I don't got a problem with anybody.
But I don't either. But if you were a heroin addict and you come out there and you say, okay, I don't do heroin anymore. I smoke a little weed and drink occasionally. That's fine. But don't come here and preach like you're this pillar of sobriety and serenity and all this other stuff.
That guy could preach like he's a pillar of anything. Because
he does.
Let's do this. Hang on, those there. Let's do the facts. Okay. He said out of his own mouth that he fucked with a tranny, didn't he?
Yes.
So he admitted to having sexual relations with a transgender, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Then he says that he shoots heroin. I mean, anything this guy says is just something that makes himself look bad. Satchel, why don't we talk about, and he's got successful family members, but then they said his brother was a real scumbag, talked about when his daughter died, got ate by a jaguar. A lot of shit that I don't get into, but we're going to have somebody take a look into him.
It's some real dark shit.
I take that personal because that was my actual friend. Well, I'm going to see you and I'm going to fuck you up. Mark my fucking words. Mark my fucking words. I'm going to see you and I'm going to fuck you up. Watch. I'm fucking open hand slap the shit out of your bitch ass. Watch me. You want to dox me? I'll tell you right where the fuck I'm at, bitch. But here's the trick. I'm going to find you. I'm going to come to your house. You fucking punk. You know, I'll catch your old ass. Don't they think I won't? Think I won't, bitch. You know, all that old man shit, all that, that's off the fucking table. I'll snap your fucking neck, you fucking faggot. Faggot bitch. See, they disrespect the wrong people. That motherfucker, I don't even say nothing about that Herbert, the pervert looking my man. I'm getting mad. I swear to God.
I know. He did.
Nah, he don't know what the fuck he's playing with.
He's a clown, man. He's a fucking clown. That's all he is. 70-year-old immature clown, gay male.
I wouldn't call it. That's insulting gays. Honestly, that's insulting gay people.
I don't mean to insult them. They probably don't claim him either.
Yeah, I mean, would you? Fucking
no, I wouldn't claim him. No.
That was sick, man. What he just did. I mean, I don't know what anybody.
I know. Did. I hear you. No, I agree. I agree 100%.
I would never do that in somebody's chat anyway, especially if they have somebody on who's in that type of person. And you know, come on, man.
Yeah, we weren't doing no bash show. We were having real.
I'm not falling for it.
Yeah.
This guy's Diddler 88. We had I had a guest on. There was a friend of mine. He did 2 tours of duty in Iraq and stuff. So Stone Sailor also was in a military and did tour of duty in the same place. So I brought him on, and you know, he's taking questions, and we're trying. You know, we're talking about the man hour, how we do over here. We don't sniff diapers over here and stuff, and talk about transgenders and stuff. We don't do that. So he came in and asked a question about somebody who said stolen valor and tried to make a joke about Chicago muscle or something. Like, why would you do that? Like, why?
I mean,
you're a lurking little bitch.
You heard Matt's story. He was blown up. His face was disfigured. He was spitting teeth. He went to Walter Reed Medical Center to recover.
Just had a military graduation thing today. That's why I had to do the show at 5:30. I come on at 3:30. The man took time out of his fucking. He's busy. He took time out to come on here, and for that fucking faggot to do that, what a scumbag!
And right in the middle of all that, you want to come in and drop some stupid remark, disrespectful remark like that, and try to derail the show.
Yeah,
but you didn't.
I'm gonna make sure. I hope this fucking Redzilla and this Jim Terry get a hold of Satchio. You know, I'm sure people pass his information around. You know what I mean? Really find out about his wife. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Yeah, right. Rich, I know about the moderators, but I don't trust none of these people. I'm not going to lie. I'm not giving out no wrenches. I don't trust nobody. I think it's all right how it is because if they come over, everybody knows not to take them serious over here. You know, they can't ruin this show.
No, this show's going to be great no matter what.
Yeah. Come on, man. Listen, man. I try my best to relate to everybody and bring interesting people on and you know, different type of topics and stuff like that. Not just prison, not just the mob, you know, and you get a fucking piece of shit like that. You know what I mean? What a scumbag. Hey, what's up, Tony Pizza?
Hey, Mr. Pizza.
Yeah, that fucking faggot came over, fucking up the whole show. But then he'll be the one. Oh, but he'll be the one to say that fucking Tony Pizza said something about this. Nah, motherfucker, you just really did that real time to a fucking real veteran. You fucking faggot. I'm getting a little bit too mad, man. All right, William.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna end the show though.
All right, Willie, what's up?
Are you free tomorrow, Stone Sailor?
Yeah. Let me know. Give me a call. Give me a call and let me know. We're gonna get a schedule so we can put up a schedule.
Yeah, we got to work on the schedule over the weekend.
No problem.
Weekend we'll freestyle it and we'll figure something out.
Yep. Got it, man. All right, bro.
All right, guys. I hope you guys
Later.
enjoyed the show, man.
Thank you for coming.